How's it going? It's Man Tomorrow here. Well, thank you guys for coming through in this morning live stream. I normally don't live stream in the morning at all because I'm doing things, but I'm off for the rest of the year. So I think I'll be able to come to you guys and talk about this very, very, very important issue. Um, because we need to stop this stuff from happening from here on out. We got to start steering these dudes towards solutions. And for too long within this space, thanks to the younger generation, and this is a younger generation problem. It's not an older generation problem. It is a younger generation problem. Bro, you can't serve two masters. It's either you serve the master of fuckery or you serve the master of progress beyond the fuckery itself. You can't have both. At this point in time, there's no rationale or no reason to think that you're going to keep paying attention to these fuckery based live streams and think that you're moving towards some type of solution. That's not the case. The case is that when you have a lot of these lost men, like most of them younger, like most younger dudes, my age and younger, like I just spent so all right, so let's go back. Rural America is, and I consider still Memphis a rural American city. Not an urban one, but a rural one. Because when you go to black communities in that city, you go to trailer parks outside of that city across the border in Mississippi, you see exactly what the future's gonna be. You see exactly what the future's gonna be. And it's like these environments have created information resistant people, progress resistant people on purpose. They created progress and information resistant people on purpose to cover their actual moves. Why do you think most of the growth within the space and the spirit is talking about people who want to keep rehabbing the conversation about whoop this trick type shit? I'm talking about Mr. Fantastic, Hardcore Tito, BGS Itmore, Bernard Riley, Edward Anderson. Like they're not motherfucking Art Newstall, the niggas who would jump up on Art Newstall panel. Like these are not our fucking people. These are infiltrators. These are infiltrators enter our space to keep this conversation focused on this bitch. Grinch, fucking angry man, O'Shea to some extent. Like this is what this shit is. In normal operating societies, they would be kicking down doors and running in with automatic weapons to get these motherfuckers the fuck out of here. These people are not our fucking people. They're not trying to move toward a political solution. They're not trying to move toward a sociological solution. They're not trying to move toward making shit better. They're not trying to do any of that shit. The only thing that they're trying to do is keep this conversation focused on this type of woman to bring all these people in so that way nothing fucking works. Obsidian too. But then again, Obsidian was real honest about what the fuck he said. And it's like a lot of this black YouTube shit. And it's not black manosphere. Even though people want to talk that it's black manosphere, this ain't some black manosphere shit. This is black YouTube. I'm talking the real Dana. Like all these motherfuckers are in on the shit of keeping you focused on shit that don't work. They don't live in societies where shit actually operates and functions. They try to keep this shit focused primarily on other groups of people. Like we have like unskilled black people talking about immigrants when immigrants are coming here and taking unskilled labor jobs. And people wanted unskilled labor jobs to be just for them on some just for me shit. They're okay with their position at being at the fucking bottom just so long as they wouldn't be actually challenged on it. There is no Maggle and regular man collaboration here. There is no pro black and regular man collaboration here. Remember, these dumb, confused, ignorant, information resistant individuals was created by a society that I was not responsible for. We know damn to the fucking well, if you had a child, you would not send your child to talk to any of these individuals about this shit. But this stuff has a singular point, and this stuff has a singular focus. The singular focus is food collapse. The food collapse and the actual thing imploding upon its own weight. There was never going to be a society that was built into anything where you have men who have their stuff together who want to procreate with women who don't really need them. That's the problem. They rather go and ensure that their lives are held in this fantasy by deliberately going after these individuals. And it's like, you know what? Somebody told me, you know what? Maybe you need to pander to these dudes' feelings to get get them back over there where you at. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? You think that I have to outpander individuals who have no type of results, no type of reason, no type of respect, and I gotta outpander those people? What's going on, Wackaroo? And it's like, that's not the case. That's not the issue. This is a personal issue. Like, all right, so Christmas break went from where I'm at now, went down to Nashville, picked up my sister. We went down to Memphis. People came up from the Delta and Pascagoula and Indianola. They all came to Memphis. A lot of these people haven't even left their cities and never left their cities forever. Talking about 20, 30 years of people. They thought that we was on this mission to bring these dumb motherfuckers in so that way they can be able to sabotage and destroy our own shit. And it's like, once you have like a meeting of cultured men who actually have an actual point to whether they're things that they're trying to create, and once you meet up with a group of people who don't, they don't know how to operate around men. The same way the women that you claim you want to be with don't know how to operate around men as either. But at the end of the day, you're supposed to, like as M1 says, you're supposed to be a man at the end of the day without women's help, without anything else. Like this was something that you were supposed to be. This had nothing to do with the fact of your ability to be able to have sex within the environment. That's not what masculinity was based on. However, once we started mixing with these Maggle kind, the outside the liquor store kind, the dudes who's actually focused on the actual outcome of the black community but have nothing to say about how we got into the situation we was kind, yeah, food collapse. Because everybody can't go in and destroy the previous generation of women at this point. I'm Generation X. I freely saw the silent generation and the actual boomer generation dying in on the women of my generation when they was very young. This isn't something that's black community specific. It is not black community specific, because when you go to other communities, the same thing was happening. The same thing was happening with them young ass girls. The same thing was happening, right? They tried to make it look like it was game and make it look like it was this or it was that. No, they just had more resources than you, and the resources went to the actual highest bidder or the lowest one, if you want to look at it overall. This is why the travel movement have also been inundated by these lost ass men. But these lost ass men who enter these travel movements are the peer group of the younger generation that never had access to women. So how would you actually not see that any movement that you create that's going to allow new people in it is going to be sabotaged by the actual previous generation of people who never had a chance, who never had a shot, never had anything? Like right now, I seen women when I went to Memphis when they, what I'm saying, buck 20, 5'3", fine as shit. Oh, that was a woman back then. But when you see them now, buck 60, buck 80, 7 or 8 kids, trying to act like they're interested in the dudes, like you got to be able to look at these people a certain type of way. As a man, you got to be able to look at these people a certain type of way. You have to. At the end of the day, there's a food collapse because these people have been previously been fucked on by other generations of people. Previously had their head blew up by other generations of people. Say it again. There's a bunch of women who got pregnant in the 7th grade. Never seen them again. You see them now, but you see them now, and they out here on some other shit like most of these other people are. But at the end of the day, you were sworn to secrecy by you protecting this actual system for them, for their sake. And this is why you can't have principle. Principle was bred out of these people by their actual work environment that they grew up in. Again, the dudes cruising around high school in their cars with no insurance, basically picking up all the younger bitches and getting them pregnant and shit. You were supposed to fix all that. You were supposed to fix all of that shit. That's right. Once you had your shit together, once you went to school, you're supposed to fix all that. And these were the Generation X women. I'm in my 40s. I remember this shit clearly. And my grandfather was like, look, can't mess with any of them. In a couple generations, they're gonna come around pretending like they wasn't these people who was engaging in this. You need to pay attention to what's happening on the floor. No, he called the actual the neighborhood the floor. Pay attention to what's happening on the floor. Pay attention to what's happening on the floor, because these people gonna come back around and pretend like they wasn't part of that group. And it wasn't even that. It was a cultural standard. Look at all these rappers talking about all these women who claim to be victims and all this shit. They knew what the hell they was getting into when they was part of this actual music industry. You think they didn't watch Motown? You think they didn't watch every other generation of women? You think they didn't watch older individuals told them not to get into this movement? You think they wasn't told that? You're crazy. These people went into it by choice. And now you have to, by choice, stay away from these individuals. There is no reason in 2024 to be going in on women. You're going in on women because you want to shift the blame to women rather than you having your own shit together, partner. It ain't the women's fault. Women's fault that they engaged, but there's a lot of women who didn't engage. But at the end of the day, if you had a culture of silence that protected this type of shit, like brother, this shit is on some Catholic priest level shit. The things that we let these dudes get away with in the actual environment. But at the end of the day, you're covered by the fact that you didn't get no ass, and that's how come you're mad, right? But at the end of the day, there is no collaboration between these two groups. There is no Grinch collaboration with other regular ass men in society. There's no collaboration between Angry Man or Obsidian with other regular ass men in society. There is none of that shit. This shit only happens online, partner. It only happens online. Because I'm telling you, when men have their shit together and they have their own fucking women that they can pass off to cultural individuals, you don't have to worry about this shit. This is some shit that is purely fucking online. There is no collaborative effort between Maggles and men. Maggles are the opposite of fucking men. They always have been. This is why I never like, bro. Listen, man. Like, once a dude start bragging to me about women, I'm looking for the biggest brick that I can fucking pick up, that I can fucking just, just make this dude's head join with the concrete below him. The fuck you mean you out here destroying our fucking people and you want to be celebrated for it? Created multiple fucking kids that they grow up into the niggas that we have to deal with now in the manosphere. How dare you fucking tell me about people that you fucking destroyed? Fuck out of here with that stupid shit. End of the day, if you can't stop being around women who do not resist the Bravo Alpha November energy that comes toward her, dude, you gotta leave her alone too. You got to. How you gonna have a better society if the lesser of men is going to keep these people afloat? These people are a flotation device that ignorant men and weak ass women want to ride to the fucking success point. There ain't no joint congressional address between these group of people. Why you think they're not trying to vote? Why you think they're not trying to do anything? Why you think that they're trying to complain about immigrants? You want to know why? They deeply want to actually maintain the same environment. It's just that a lot of people are more vocal about it, and a lot of people are not. That's the problem here. That's the problem here. How many people have come up to say, you know what? Like, dude, I let my uncle listen to this shit. Like, hey man, where's this dude stay at, man? Maybe we need to fall through. Maybe we need to fall through and run hands on this dude. It's like, nah, man, you ain't got to do that. Why? Because they're pointing out the actual fact that most of these people are information resistant and they're not trying to change the circumstances on the ground. That shit is for other people to do. They actually want us to have us chasing our tails, trying to take care of all these mistakes from the past so that way we don't worry about our own future. Our future is to be inundated with worried about these individuals who are trying to do other things. But it's easy to blame the manosphere for this. It's easy to blame the manosphere for this. It's easy to blame the black pill for this. Easy to blame the actual red pill for this. It's easy for that shit. Easy. You want to know why? You have a bunch of individuals who want answers to questions, and then you have a bunch of individuals who want to escort them into the actual framework to where there is no answer to questions. That's the problem. The problem is the people. The problem is the clientele. How many like live streams do you watch on dudes following washed up rappers and washed up motherfucking NBA players rather than progress? You want to know why? That's what their heads were for before. Their brains have been print and pressed into just only being a certain type of person. There was never no collaboration between these two groups. Yeah. You ever heard them address my fucking live streams? They can't fucking do it. You want to know why? I will jump on that panel and fry your ass with actual stats. But at the end of the day, you want to keep your homeboys compliant, right? And this is the shit that it is. Bro, you're not gonna be able to popularity your way out of this shit. It may help for a couple of people, but at the end of the day, it's not gonna help for all people. At some point, you gotta realize that this stuff is on you. Your point have to realize this stuff is on you. 2024, like bro, I can go to the live streams at the end of 2023, first live stream in 2024. The same individuals who claim the deals for the man spirit, look where they at now. They over there in dumb nigga land. They over there in dumb nigga land. They gave up. They finally got a voice. But Sorry about that. Had a phone call. But this is where we at. So 2024. You know who your enemies are. Like there's no reason to be followed up on Simone Biles or any other type of thing that has to do with not making sure your own shit is together as a person. You ain't got to worry about that shit. The only thing you got to do is fix you. The only thing you got to do is fix you. Fix you. You ain't got to fix the environment. Fix you. Fix you. Move on to different people that's not on the previous environment shit. Fix you. That's all you had to do. Fix you. You didn't have to fix everything else there. Fix you. Fix you. Like, in my 40s and I chopped cotton in my fucking lifetime. You know what I had to do? Leave the Mississippi Delta, go to other places, different type of circumstances. I had to fix me. I couldn't fix that place. I had to fix me. Couldn't fix the women that are actually affixed to that actual place. I had to fix me. Yes, fixing you is the only thing that you could do at this time. Say it again. But see, a lot of people chose to, I'm going to partially fix me. But what happens when you fix you and you still want the shit from the previous environment? What happens? When you want to fix you, then you want to take your ass right back in and fix everybody else's mistake. When do you get a clean slate? Like, okay, so once you fix you, when do you get a clean slate? So I'm talking to a person in Memphis about this clean slate shit. Okay, great. And I'm sitting there talking with my uncle, who's far older, 81. Talking to my older cousin, he's older than me, probably like 48. Brought my younger nephew with me, he's probably like 21. A person who's far even younger than him, probably 9 years old. We're all sitting here talking to a person who claimed he is a black conservative in Memphis. And we're talking about this issue about how to fix it. Keep it real, this person did go to college. He did go when he's attorney for some top corporate law firm on some fuckery, because that's what corporate law firms do. They take care of rich people's money and rich people's interests. This person is trying to tell me like he's some type of capitalist when the only thing he actually benefits from is capitalism in the corporate world. I am sitting right here, and this person is telling me about all this shit. And let's keep it real. Dude was neglected like a motherfucker within the environment, like a motherfucker, because that's what the environment's supposed to do. It's supposed to neglect people who are not up to task and up to speed and trying to do everything that needs to be done within the environment to actually get with those type of people. They was trying to tell me about all this stuff. I'm just sitting here like, man, I'm just sitting here with my uncle. We're just sitting here, be like, and another one paid him $1,000. Here's $1,000 in your pocket. Why don't you explain your actual ideology to me to where it makes sense to everybody here? Couldn't do it. 2 hours, couldn't do it. Okay, you was raised here, you understand the history, correct? Okay, how did you come to the mind frame that you came to? Oh, this, and this. Okay, all right. You went to school. You was poor, like everybody else was poor. In actual college, you're not different. Everybody else was poor in college too. So was I. Before I got my stuff together, so was I. Inventory went to all other people. I didn't have a problem with it, but I just knew what I was going to do when I had my chance. But this dude couldn't do that. Once he had his chance, he wanted to ball rub in front of people's faces. After he got his shit. Like all of a sudden he went from this type of guy, top graduate of this law firm, now he's this type of guy. Again, now you turn into the same individual that you claimed that you hated all of your life. Now you just join their team. Oh well, if all these people just get their shit together, like bro, that's not what you did to get there. You got where you was because you joined their team. You joined their team by being Irish, white Latino. You joined their team by being conservative Muslim, but actually ignore the actual shit that they do against Muslims in this country. Became the Italians, certain sectors of Jewish people. That's what you did once you got the chance. And you held yourself within an environment to where your productivity is way better than the people who would actually produce inside of your environment. I'm like, bro, you became no better than Clarence Thomas. Oh, well, Clarence Thomas, he was a pro-black, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but when did it change? Who did he replace on the Supreme Court? You really think that there's going to be airports and things named after Clarence Thomas after he leaves? No, it's like, bro, you became the same problem that you complain against. The only thing you wanted to do was separate long enough for you to become the top version of the problem inside of the environment. I'm like, bro, listen, you know damn well that you're not trying to team up with entertainers, which is what conservatives do have right on their end in their spectrum. They do not team up with entertainers. They have an enclosed circle system that does not require entertainment to be a part of their stuff. You know, they had the Kirk Camerons and, the Charleston Hestons back in the day, but they don't need those people now. They don't need them now. They have a whole media structure. They have a whole system that panders to their ideology, whether they're right or whether they're wrong. So you have to understand, it's not that these people are these people. They have an entire culture that bolsters their point of view, whether it's right or wrong. Most likely wrong. That's the problem. But see, nobody wants to actually say here what it is that's going on here. The problem is you. Problem is you, not them. Problem is you. Lack of adjustment, lack of accomplishment, lack of the ability to move ahead from these people. All of that stuff now has been filed down into I must reverberate all of my shortcomings in my life upon this woman and what she hasn't done. And you're doing it on purpose with no political action activity. When the conservatives actually did this over history, they gained power for their actual position. They gained money in nonprofit organizations over their position. They changed society because of their position. They stopped at nothing to bolster their position. They stopped at they didn't stop at school boards or judiciary or anything else. They took over everything with their position. But you actually think that you're going to change this with no action. So now you're creating this spin cycle kind of on your own because the men came to the manosphere to actually bolster bullshit niggas. That's what happened. These lost, confused, dumbass, ridiculous pieces of shit came to the manosphere to get behind dumbass niggas. They did it on purpose, right? Because to their substandard point of view inside their fucking head, being one of these dudes to be the arbiter of conversation with no progress is what they wanted to be, even if they had to actually pursue being around these individuals as the actual point of what they wanted. When's the last time you seen like Neil deGrasse Tyson on like No Jumper podcast or some other ridiculous shit? No, he stays around the whites, the other productive people who can promote his actual voice as a smart ass human being. As a dude who got his shit together, you ain't got to be around dumb niggas. Being around dumb niggas is a choice. Being around dumb niggas is a choice. Being actually in this pro black box is a fucking choice. You decided to be here. You decided to stay here. Tons of resources at the actual workforce community. You decided to do this shit on your own. You decided to do all this. But you was gonna do all this behind everybody's back while you expected everybody else who participated in society to fix all this shit for you from every other framework in society. That's some shit you decided to do. Like nobody else decided to do that for you. Dude, there was never no framework to where these people work together. Actors in the 60s and 70s, even though they was looked at like individuals that people wanted to be like, look at how much money they got paid. They could have easily went to the factory, got a factory job. People didn't want to go through all that shit to get paid. They didn't want to do that. They wanted everyone else in society to fix everything for them. Why? They should know what we go through. They should know what we go through. They should just fix it for us. Why should we participate? Why should we be involved? And then the moment that everybody else get involved, quietly, get this shit together quietly, fix all this shit within their community quietly, move into what was considered your community, take up your actual house, get a mortgage for $300 or $400 a month, watching you paying seven and eight, nine, $1,100 a month for the same houses in your community that's rented to you from those quote unquote conservative personnel. Again, there's no man and Maggle collaboration. There isn't. There never has been. And you know that that's the case. So why did you come to this place with a clear conscience and a clear track record and support bullshit niggas? Why'd you do that? Why did you do that? And then you wanted to blame her for it? No, dude, a whole society was set up for her by dumbass dudes, right? But you want us to pander to your insecurities and your feelings to get you to do the right thing. That's not how that works. They're not even pandering to you either. They know that's where your face wants to be at the end of the day. They ain't got shit to do with where you want to be, man. Bro, listen to these dudes, older Generation X, older than me. There we go. Look, we back. But this is what we got going on here. This is what we got going on here. Like, bro, listen. When I took my uncles down there and I showed them what two generations of Bravo Alpha Novembers have created beyond their 81-year-old existence, they wanted to pick up flamethrowers and go from one field to another and just start burning the whole city to the ground. Like, what happened? It's like, this is exactly what happened. When you allow personnel to procreate and didn't care about what they was creating, this is exactly what was happening. But they don't have a voice They don't have a voice unless they're using her to do it. That's the problem. Bro, they are dependent on this woman like a motherfucker to keep this shit built for them. It is the men who decided not to actually invest in other productive men. How many career dudes that you have within this space don't have a big platform? You want to know why? These damaged, broken, dumb, and lost fucking men, they wanted to be some shit that the women looked up to. They wanted to be part of that group. They know that this shit haven't worked in their personal life, but this is what they wanted. There was never a collaboration between these type of dudes. Man, there's never been that shit. Every time you see the dude comes to the manosphere brand new, what they try to do? They try to ball rub on some the bitch pick me over you type shit. Soon as they get here, did you hear the women show up and say, we would never pick no dumb motherfucker like this. Who is this dude? Never happened within space. Never happened. But at the end of the day, it was the quickest way to get a platform. Lying about your actions to women was the quickest way to get a platform within the manosphere. Can you believe that shit? That's what it was. That's what it was. It wasn't interracial dating. It wasn't SYSBM. It wasn't passport bros. It was the actual idea that dumbass fucking lost dudes wanted to look up to hood culture to save them. Because they thought that hood culture was actually pandering to them. Hood culture wasn't pandering to you. Hood culture was just exploiting the fact that you didn't know how shit worked and you wasn't interested in finding out. So they dumbass was the only reason that you actually had. That's the only way you could have dressed up your non-productivity as an actual substance that something someone could be actually doing for. Is to actually put it on somebody else to fix the shit for you. It's no different. No different than a dude who gets out of prison, trying to join a nonprofit organization. Yeah, well, I used to have all these hoes back in the day, and guess what? Community's gonna be fixed once you fix me. And that's the thing. Same problem. Same problem. The dude thinks that once you fix the hood issues, you're going to fix every other issue. No. Once you fix your issues, you fix your issues. Hood dudes still going to have their hood persona and their hood problems because they feast upon broken men and broken children. Broken men and broken children is what these people feast upon. They exist because of this problem. Okay, don't believe me? What about the multiplier effect? Let's say you get rid of all these hood problems, all these hood issues. Most of these dudes go out there career minded career fields and things. How long do you think all these actual issues are going to happen? Not going to see it, is you? What happens when you have actually destroyed your actual mind to actually look at other people for solutions? Because that's where it is. You have to look at other people for solutions. You have to look at other people for solutions where you want to be at. You have to look at those solutions that they've engaged in as a culture, as a people. You look back at China, you look back at Japanese. Do these people have 1,000 year plans for their people? 1,000 years. The only thing that we have is the opposite. 1,000 years where we want to dine and feast off of most of these individuals within this environment. We want to dine in and feast upon the productive men within the environment and let the women do whatever the fuck they want to. Because all the actual loyalty is to become from the women. Men, the women can do whatever the fuck they want. Why? More people enter the pool. Don't really give a fuck about what's going on. They want women to do whatever, and they want men to actually pay for everything. That's why when you are a person who is a cultured individual, you go to everywhere else. They're trying to keep your ass there. Now a lot of people look at, oh, they're trying to keep me around. Like, no, no, no. They're trying to keep you over here being productive before you take your ass back to those people over there who's not. Productive men can actually work together. There have been trade deals that have been done between productive men all throughout history. You know what deals have never worked? People teaming up with reptiles. Never worked. You don't see the alligators working with the water moccasins to actually make sure that the actual food pool inside the actual lake is an actual even playing ground. That's not what it is. You don't see wildcats or wild dogs working out in the wide open in the wilderness to make sure that their food population stays strong. That's not how that works. Somehow, insect, lower functioning mammals and reptiles have this figured out, but we as higher functioning human beings don't have it figured out. Why? You held yourself in a society that did not care at all about making sure that things function appropriately. Whose fault is that? Is that the woman's fault? Again, we're gonna blame the women for that. The fact that you even believe in these type of personnel in the first place, that's on you. Remember, when cultures of men create things for productivity to be the standard, the rest of the men have to buy in on that inside that society. The rest of the men have to buy in on that inside that society. The rest of the men have to buy in on that. My grandfather bought in on that. Uncles bought in on that. Cousins bought in on that. At least the older ones. They left, didn't care about what was created, and they only come back and they just now seeing what was created when they left. Most of their kids are functional. Didn't really care about what was happening between other people. Stayed to their actual business, leveled up within their actual career field, and then they looked around like, man, this is what these people were doing. Wow, this is what we were doing. 2024, there is no collaboration between decent men and actual Maggles of tomorrow. The other MOTs. Yeah, there's another MOT here. Yeah, not the men of tomorrow. The Maggles of tomorrow have been growing their numbers right along the men of tomorrow. The Maggles of tomorrow have actually been growing their numbers too. That's right. Going in on bitches, talking about shit that don't matter, all that dumbass shit, bro. Bro, they've been running a whole collaborative, collective right alongside our actual movement. Yes. Think of him as the Reverse Flash or Bizarro. They've been growing their movement right alongside ours. These are the same people who was trying to operate an entire fucking liquor store in the actual lobby of the AA movement. The people who was trying to run an entire crack house in the lobby of the fucking Narcotics Anonymous movement. This is what these saboteurs are. Dude, like, bro, saboteurism has been a part of this shit. It's been so much of a part of it. What you want to blame the women, though? It ain't you. You want to blame the women because you don't want to live up to your actual responsibility as a man. And you want to actually feast upon broken women so that way you can maintain a place in society so that way you can have a voice. Why do you think none of these manosphere motherfuckers are going to any major publication talking about bitches? Because as soon as that happens, a bunch of feminists jump on the fucking panel and fry this motherfucker to pieces. And then they go after the platforms where you actually go after building weak ass men. They would never allow this shit. They would never allow it. Again, it's not everybody's fault, not everybody's problem. This is a singular issue. But everybody wanted to hide behind everyone else as the reason why they're in the position that they're actually in. That was the problem. They wanted to keep hiding behind other functioning personnel. This is why it was so important to wait on somebody else to go accomplish great shit. They can go accomplish great shit so that way you can take credit for it. Not that you was gonna put the work in yourself. While you spent all this time hanging out with all these dumbass motherfuckers online, you're gonna act like you was part of the actual growing shit movement once the shit was over with. Say it again. They was growing that shit here the same way that we was growing it. Bro, you don't see these people running shit in the military, the law enforcement, the military industrial complex, bro. You don't see these people running shit anywhere in the community. Nowhere. Think about it. How all these has been rappers and motherfucking people from the NBA showing up with podcasts talking about old shit that don't fucking matter. You wanna know why? These people wanted another form of non-progressive people to fucking hide behind to actually drown their sorrows into. They don't want to get their own shit together. Why would they want to get their own shit together when they can watch society be burned to the ground because you're not putting in free labor for them? Again, you got way more solutions than the next guy. You actually lived through it. You have to have 9, 10 years of the actual manuscript right in front of your face. You got people in actual education who are here online running stagnant nigga panels. You got people who are online who teach at colleges who run stagnant nigga panels for the stagnant man's benefit. You think that's the woman doing that? You think you have to keep continuing to keep getting your shit off about this woman to the actual point to where you stop your own progress? There's a group of people who've actually done this with no success. They're called evangelical Christians in rural fucking America. Rather than trying to keep them union jobs in small ass cities and towns, they let the actual capitalists talk them into allowing those jobs to be outsourced overseas in the name of capitalism. And you know what? They fucking lost over the shit. You know what happened after they did that? They turned around and blamed the black people who didn't even have a job at those fucking factories for the reason why they allowed the actual capitalists to outsource the shit overseas. That shit's crazy. And these people actually thought, well, you know what? I don't want to pay taxes because I don't want to pay for those people. Okay, what happens when you become those people? What happens when you become those people? Now your whole society can't even function without welfare money. The same money that you've been trying to cut for 48 years behind the backs of abortion and wars that didn't need to be waged, or just being an evangelical Christian right now and not saying shit about insurrection. You think this shit's old? This shit ain't old. That shit ain't that old. But at the end of the day, once you start soldering off your brain from actual relevance and facts, and you build an entire worldview where you can't do shit about it, and then you have to blame somebody for all this shit, right? That's why the women become the blame. The immigrants become the blame. Can't be you. They already doing it. They already doing it right now. Most of these books that are actually made today are made by AI. Most of these puzzles and scripts, that most of these things can be made by AI. It turns out learning how to write code, because AI is a code, can actually net you positive results. But everybody's waiting through entertainment to watch this shit happen for them. Help me write code faster too. Help me become way up to date on SQL and other codes that I can be able to easily pull things through. But again, but if your baseline isn't intelligence or trying to find answers, ChatGPT ain't gonna do shit for you. ChatGPT right now can write lyrics to songs. It can create beats to music. It can do all that shit. Say it again. Taught my nephew how to write scripts to where it can ask basic questions to chat GPT about how to actually do math problems. This person is now in calculus. This dude was barely at general math a year ago. And now he's at calculus by learning the actual procedures and programs. The same actual tablet that was having them in front of bullshit ass entertainment was used to do other things. There's never been a collection between these two groups. You don't see it between the white community either. Once you are on that rap shit, don't nobody want to fuck with you in the business world if you're white. You don't see that shit. You don't see China Mac working with the fucking Chinese government. You don't see China Mac working with Panda Express or none of these motherfuckers in these goddamn communities. Chinatown and nobody's fucking city. I'm like, man, fuck this dude. He ain't with us. He's one of them. However, if you ain't got the baseline minimum level of functionality to be able to interface with these things, how you gonna be able to get past it? How you gonna be able to get past it? Sure the fuck did. They wasn't having that shit there. They're like China Mac, nigga. You ain't China Mac and cheese, nigga. You ain't trying to compete with Kraft. All right, man. Adios, bro. You can have a really nice day. But bro, that's how they protect their culture. They protect their culture by maligning their actual idiots in society. They don't try to put money behind these motherfuckers. They don't do that shit. They don't do that. That's the way that it is. But a lot of these individuals don't even want to hear that shit. They don't want to hear it. That's the problem. There's never been this collaboration between these two groups of people. The problem is that trying to treat it like we have to take these people with us, that's always been the issue. These people ain't your people. What the fuck you mean? These people are running political disengagement. They're running information disengagement. They're running a disengagement game. Right alongside people who's trying to help your ass out with shit. But at the end of the day, you think that people gotta pander towards your insecurities to get you to believe in shit that's already rational, functioning, and happening. These people are trying to look for a reason to stay behind. I say you gotta let them do that shit. You gotta let them do it. You have to let them do that while you move ahead, while you move along. And the only thing you do is you wait for the actual complaints. Wait for the complaints because the complaints look the same. The complaints is the complaints come in plurality or even possessive pronouns. Our people, what we ain't doing, our community, these men, our women, blah, blah, blah. Okay, what are you doing on the individual level that you have to expand individual accomplishments to our people? That's the problem. This our people shit is talking about your lack of ineffectiveness as an individual. That's what that shit has always been. Apparently, you know everybody who's rich, but you don't pay attention to everybody who's poor in their actual actions. Tons of money in every fucking city. Tons of money. But they want a turnkey system that they don't want to be invested or involved in that was actually created by the actual men who never done shit in society. Those were the people that who they looked up to. They looked up to those people. They looked up to them on purpose. not by accident. They looked up to those individuals on purpose, so that way they can be able to destroy everything that we're actually doing here. They did it on purpose. Now the shit comes in the form of we got to complain about women. We got to get these women straight. Like, oh, okay, so we're gonna get all these women perfect before we do what the fuck we need to do as men. Complex going on, man.
Yo, MOT, am I coming through okay?
All the way clear.
All right. What's good with you, big bro?
What's going on, man? And it's like we need to be able to burn this idea to the ground before 2024 hits. That there is
Hmm.
no collaboration between Maggles and men. There's never been that collaboration. The Manosphere has never been a collaborative effort for that actual point of view. The Maggles have
No.
come here to constrain the growth of the actual Manosphere and fill this place full of lost ass boys. That's what they did with their actual voice here.
Well, MOT, I've always looked at this as, this was sort of like a venue where there was going to be a battle for like minds and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I
Or else
never
that could be
thought
a Cold War like there is now. Like there's a Cold
like
War
yeah,
because
yeah, that's what I mean.
yeah,
Sort of like a
Cold War.
blackmail cold war,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Internal,
blackmail Cold War.
like an internal one
Yeah,
where
blackmail Cold War.
basically yeah. That's kind of how I've always seen this, and that's really, in my view, how this shit has been playing out since like what 2016, 2017,
Easily
right?
since that point.
Right, and then I think the lines were drawn in 2018.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, yeah, and so now we're going into 2024, and now I'm looking at the fruits. I'm looking at the fruits of the opposing sides, and like literally what's manifested, right?
Yeah, I mean,
And
the only thing you can get out of poison ivy farmer is more poison ivy that
more
is
poison ivy.
unsold. Yeah.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like, and I've seen people who will subscribe to my channel. I would bring up a criticism of something, and they will walk right in and say, "You should be criticizing that dude. You should leave this shit as open as laissez-faire as possible." I'm like, "Oh my god, a fucking another one."
Well,
Thanks,
because
thank you for letting me know where the fuck you are, but you cannot exhibit principle for no point in your fucking life. You want to keep this shit wide the fuck open, and it's
what
like, wow, and it's
no,
like I just set the traps, and it's like the bear traps, and it's like bears just rain from the sky on top of the trap. Like you can't even trap all the bears.
what is that? What is that saying? They say like, something about like, if men don't do anything, then you would basically allow for, if principled men don't do anything to address the unprincipled, then the unprincipled does its thing, basically, in a nutshell, right?
Correct,
If left unchecked, right? So,
correct for the most part.
I would, yeah. So I would have to say that, these types of clashes are inevitable.
Being that way,
They're inevitable. It's gonna happen. I don't give a fuck how you now. You can have an opinion about it, but I'm saying that the belligerents and combatants involved, you know, it is what it is, right? It's gonna happen, and
yeah.
listen, to the victor go the spoils, so to speak, right? So I question what side you align with, and what is the true value of those spoils you hope to get.
What's going on? I think the results are immediate, and let me explain my case. Keeping a level preserved to where it's currently at serves all men who are here who never wanted to raise their actual idea of accomplishment beyond the complaints of a woman. It's already a well thought out idea that you could just buy into.
It's easy, yeah.
It's easy. It's kind of like,
It's
you know
very
what?
easy.
Rather than understanding the fact that I'm going to fight this civil war to make sure that I don't become broke after the black people take all the jobs, I'm just going to throw in with the people to the corporate America to preserve their way of life and call it my way of life. And it's like, did you even take into account what the fuck would happen if they took all the jobs and you decimated your actual population to the point to where you couldn't reproduce? This is why you needed Jim Crow to catch up for 3 decades. You needed Jim Crow to catch up
You,
because you
you're gonna get
decimated your
all the way.
population. You
Yeah,
decimated your population by
you're
believing
tearing
in the wrong
yourself out the
system.
frame. You're tearing
Yes.
yourself out the frame, bro. Like you're literally tearing yourself out the frame.
And it's like when I was explaining this to my so-called conservative cousin, I'm like, okay, so what happened that you became a person who understood the history to where you didn't? Could you explain it to me? And he couldn't do it. Not that he couldn't do it, but he made sure that he never was around people who can actually ask those type of questions. And the society didn't create men who would ask those type of questions either. So it's twofold. It isn't the fact that he had his bullshit point of view, which he could have kept and shut the fuck up about, because
Hmm.
it's an actual right to work state, and they can fire you based off your actual political bumper stickers on your car
Yeah,
when
because
you
it's a right to
do.
work, so they can fire you for any reason.
Correct. When
Hmm.
it comes down to an actual explanation outside of Candace Owens or an ABL type context, they couldn't do it because the whole system was around the fact that I can't answer any of these questions, so I'm gonna dodge all conversations until you show up on some trolling the left shit. Then I have to like nail you down. It's like, so where were you raised? Oh no, I was raised in Mississippi, 130 miles from here. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure I left home when I was 17 years old. Yeah, I'm sure I have.
Same here.
And people
Yep.
just and people like just looking like I'm just nailing this dude down and everything. It's like, I'm like, no, you're wrong, and you don't have any basis for your opinion. I'll take my $1,000 back, thank you. But I gave him $1,000, and it's like you're going to be able to have this conversation because I know you do anything for money. And I'm not trolling. I'm not going to cite some shit out of context. Everything would be able to be a question that you're going to answer with
I
facts
mean,
and reason, and he couldn't fucking do it. So
well, I
I'm
mean,
like, yeah,
I was just gonna say. Meanwhile, um, we have a rapidly escalating issue over in the Red Sea. I don't know if you guys know this,
yes, for you.
right? And see, so it's when I hear a lack of conversation or acknowledgement, with regards to things like we literally have the axis of evil being repackaged. It's a axis of evil 2.0 that's hitting the news wire as of today. Hamas, Hezbollah, and Houthis, right? The Triple H of the axis of evil, and what they're doing is trying to ramp up for some hostilities here, right? How does all this matriculate down into the markets and you know from a societal standpoint, right? The
You can
employment
do a lot
market,
through saboteurism, man. You could do a
dude.
lot through saboteurism.
Okay,
Like, dude, the whole
yeah,
war on terror was based on saboteurism that we spent trillions of dollars trying to fight and we still fucking lost.
okay. And so this is kind of like what I'm seeing as maybe something that should be on the minds of men. I'm not saying that everybody, but at least being more learned and discerning of global affairs, you would think that this would be kind of like more of the subject matter at this particular point in time, as opposed to say some bullshit like racial hypergamy or some stupid shit.
Nah, man, Brittany Renner's
No,
nah, bro. Brittany Renner's
no.
shorts
Am
is
I? Am
way more
I?
entertaining.
I'm tripping. I'm tripping.
Brittany
I'm
Renner's
bugging.
shorts is way more entertaining. Simone Biles and the clothing swap
Yeah,
shit is way
yeah.
more
Like
important.
Simone Biles and her fucking husband,
Yeah,
and what else?
husband.
Yeah,
who
yeah,
who's up there to garner attention from you stupid motherfuckers, so that way you're not concentrating on real shit. And it's like, what were
Jesus.
you doing before that? And what
Yeah,
were you doing
yeah,
before
yeah,
that? And what were you doing before
yeah.
that? And before that? And before that? And it's like there's always and before that and before that. Next thing you
Yeah,
know,
and as if motherfuckers didn't know Puff was a goddamn weirdo.
yeah.
This is all new information.
But in 2023 we got it figured out.
Jesus Christ.
Not in
But you can't tell us shit
1996.
about what's going on in the Red Sea right now.
Not in
It's amazing.
1997. Now it's a problem. Okay,
Hmm.
got it.
Hmm.
Got it.
Yeah, right on time, right? Right on time, right?
And it's too
Isn't it
easy to
all
call
just
these people
it's too
stupid.
it's
It's too
just
easy.
too easy, bro. And it sickens me if people can't fucking see this shit. I'm just like, wow, you guys eat this shit up, dude. I have more compelling conversations about like the whole Middle East situation and stuff like that with my daughter. She comes to me and wants to talk about the whole Israeli Hamas, the whole situation, right? She's got more discerning questions than the average Negro in the manosphere. Real shit. I'm not even playing.
But that's where we at. That is where we are. And it's kind of like, how do you solve a problem when you are the problem?
Wait,
How do you
how do you
solve the
ask
problem
for
when,
how do you ask for solutions when you're the pro?
yes. It's kind of like cancer trying to check itself into chemotherapy. And it's like, what is your name? I'm stage 4 cancer. What? Yeah, I'm stage 4 cancer checking in for chemotherapy. Like, you're not a patient? Like, no, I'm stage 4 cancer. What?
I am literally the problem.
like, so you're a doctor? Like, no, I'm not an oncologist. I'm actually stage 4 checking in for help.
Yeah, help me get better.
Yeah, yeah. Help me get better. I'm stage 4. I'm totally dependent on the fact of why you have an oncology ward here and children dying of cancer. I'm stage 4 cancer. I'm responsible for all that shit. Could you check me into a room? Do you have like a presidential suite for me?
You need a presidential suite.
Yeah, for me. And it's like, what is going on here? It's like, I want this shit to be over, but at the end of the day, if the people don't want it to be over, then we're kind of doing this shit for a null and void reason.
No, I'll tell you what's happening here, right? And so I gotta shoot Rael a call here in a little bit because we're gonna be going live for part two of the Carter G. Woodson series live stream. Um, and
They have an
so
excellent suite of books on Audible about the whole suite of Carter G. Woodson. It costs like
yeah,
1995.
I think Rael
If
has
people
that
wanted to
book.
listen to it, I mean, I
Hmm.
know I bought it like 6 months ago, but you gotta strap in for that series, man, because they
I'm
talk
telling you,
about the philosophy majors and PhDs and bullshit motherfuckers and
uh,
people who didn't want to get to the productivity piece and people who wanted to sit around and be a part of academia and didn't want to actually focus on real issues. Like, I'm listening to this shit and I just have to pause, be like, man, this shit is too
right.
much. How long ago
This
was
is the
this?
reason why. Yeah,
100 years ago?
the turn of the 20th century, bro. Literally from the late 18th to the 1900s, dude. The turn of the 20th century, and
Uh,
this is why even Rael will always say, dude, this shit is gonna piss people off because what you'll find is that this shit that we're talking about currently going on, say this YouTube space where black men coalesce, the same dynamic existed over 100 years ago.
it's
That's the
not a
fucked up part.
YouTube thing, but
That's what I'm
it's
saying.
I,
It's not.
I
It's not
I
even
actually
new. This
think
isn't even a new thing.
I actually think it is DNA based because
Shit.
trauma is passed down, can be passed down through DNA. Apparently,
Hmm.
there's been studies about this. However, non-interactional functioning groups of the same people who went through the same thing keep recreating the same problems, even if they don't know each other.
Hmm.
So it's kind of like, okay, you don't want to work with productive men. Great, perfect. You only want to look at entertainment as a means to only be able to get out of shit. Okay, perfect. So you only want to focus on Larry Bird stories, which nobody really gave a fuck about before maybe 4 months ago, or all this shit. And it's kind of like, okay, so it looks like you're finding reasons to not move forward through these other means of doing shit. And I'm not saying that they got to let me run anything, because that's not what I'm asking for. But I'm asking you to actually recognize the people who did have these problems and got past it. Remember how gay people didn't have a voice and all of a sudden they're running everything?
I mean,
They did it through actual investment in things. 1% of the population is 100% involved. 13% of the people are 0% involved, and they're wondering why they've been overstepped by 1% of people, or 2
right.
or 3% of people who actually are not going to allow their daughters to actually procreate with reptiles and who's going to fuck up their goddamn lineage and DNA. What happened when you have those people in a 100% format who decided, nearly 100%, that we're not going to fuck with these people. We're going to live around them. We're going to do what they want. We're going to make money off them. But in no means, shape, way, form, or fashion are we going to allow these people in our family.
Exactly. I mean, to you're. I mean, you're right. It's a DNA thing. I've always felt that way. Like, I mean, dude, my number one rule in terms of dealing with chicks and stuff like that, from like even like a sexual standpoint, or primarily that, is you have there's basically one primary question: would you be okay procreating with this person? Then there's like two boxes: yes and no, right? And then if you
Yeah,
check
multiplier effect.
no,
Total
yeah, if you
multiplier effect.
yeah, if you choose no, then you just don't proceed, right? And
Yeah.
if you're actually okay, then I think you might actually be in an okay situation. I would think,
I mean, but at
right?
that point, you just have to let the shit go. Like when I went to Memphis, I seen these people, young kids, 30 years ago, and I'm looking at people who are my age and older, and it's like these people created better environments without your fucking help, and I know that they did because I
Hmm.
know the circumstances that they was born under. And they're like, oh, blah blah blah. I'm like, no, no, the food system collapsed. You can no longer feed upon the women inside the environment because they was gamed up not by their parents. They was gamed up by people within their own peer group about what the fuck to stay away from. That's how we say to a
Hmm.
lot of these motherfucking Gen X women in our fucking group. Like the women who stayed around us in our Gen X group who wasn't fucking 50-year-olds, totally different outcomes to women who got the
Totally
fuck out of
different.
there without having the
Totally
kids.
different, dude. That's what I'm saying,
Totally
bro. Like,
different.
my wife was
Totally
one of
different.
them. She was one of them, bro. Neither one of us had a child when we got together, fam. Okay, she was studious, educator, different, yeah, type of upbringing that she had was similar to mine. You know what I'm saying? And so it's basically you are the sum total of like the 5 to 7 people that you keep around you regularly.
Correct. Correct.
Okay.
Actually, thanks for the 499. Thanks for the speaking real MOT and complex. Yeah, and
For
and it's
sure.
like more people want to hear about rap stories and all this shit about where the fuck are we actually headed. Like more people want to listen to or actually listen to a Charleston White than actually
Yeah.
get behind productive men who are actually doing shit. And it's like no matter what it is, there's always a dumb nigger to fucking hide behind and restart this fucking conversation. It
Did you hit
doesn't
him with the
matter.
hard R just now?
Yeah, I did.
You did. God damn. No, it's that whole redemption story thing, right? See, because here's the deal, bro. Here's the deal, right? And I'll speak just from personal anecdote real quick. Like a lot of motherfuckers in the manosphere really think I'm like a super arrogant prick, grew up rich kid, something. I don't know what the fuck they think.
But that's okay. Wait, hold on a second. Let's stop there. That's
Go ahead.
okay if you're talking about sex. If you're talking about anything else outside of sex, they have a
Mhm.
fucking problem with it, and they always
Right,
have. Because
right,
your bragging
right.
rights are only supposed to be used to create the same
Correct,
black exploitation type environment that it was before. And if you're
correct.
not using your braggadocio to further unskilled reptiles, they have a problem with it because they're trying to level up through the same system and all this other shit. This is
Hmm.
why I say there was no connection between Maggle and men. You know who you came in with. If you came in through, I can name 10 different names. If you didn't use this information to your actual benefit, you're the fucking problem, not the information. Because you pursued this information for a reason. And the
Right.
reason is going to be found out once you get your solution or what you think is a solution.
You have to have a course of action afterwards.
Correct. But actually the course of action was to keep this shit going. I'm gonna be an actual voice and arbiter of this shit that's here. I'm gonna push for, oh wow, civil rights movement. We didn't have the right to vote, got the right to vote. We got some vote. Things changed. People joined the union. People joined the middle class. Fuck, I don't have a way to repeat that. So why don't I join the coalition and keep this shit going in a direction that we know that it ain't gonna fucking work.
Hmm.
That's specific. That is particular. That is sociopathic. That is very like people don't understand that you're trying to capitalize off a bad situation. You're not a capitalist. Capitalists live off capital. Capitalists
Right.
don't live off broken situations. Sociopaths live off broken situations. And people
Right.
think that they're a capitalist when you're just really a fucking dangerous, ignorant fucking sociopath taking advantage of a fucking group of people who don't even know that they're being taken advantage of. And you
I think.
all going to actually just be here. You're not going anywhere else. No one's going to have you
I
in their
think.
community.
I think you're right, and I think the true capitalist in today's paradigm is it has technocratic leanings,
Yes.
right? Because they understand the global nature of things now. This is why I brought up. I'm like, dude, we all need to have a global mind frame right now because the through technologies like this, hell, let's even reduce it to right now, do StreamYard and YouTube, for
Can't have a
example.
globalist mindset. Where does the
Well,
fuckery
how
go?
not, how can we not? We're literally using a platform that can reach just about anybody across the globe that has the proper connections and access to YouTube. How
So
can
people are
it not?
complaining about not having good school systems and shit. I'm like, do you realize that YouTube isn't a whole entire fucking school system that you don't
And
need to
Khan
fucking pay for?
Academy was like literally the first fucking institution to blow
Yes.
up on YouTube. Salman Khan, the whole school. Come on.
Yes. It's kind of like people don't understand that hey, you believe in Christianity, but you're not Jesus. No. Christianity is an actual system of laws, a culture. What they've affixed themselves to is the ability to not be held responsible by sheer numbers of people who's on bullshit. That's what they turned it into. That's not what it was meant to be, but that's what it got turned into.
It doesn't that kind of always maybe follow the trend with black folks oftentimes with various movements that start out maybe say
Yes.
with a benevolent notion to it and then it turns into some fuck shit at some point, right? And I think a lot of that has to do with uh taking the capitalist approach to it. Now there's a reason why on the brain trust we don't accept any donations or no money, right? Because what you can never do is call us compromised.
But I mean, but how many people who you hold the attention of for 5 6 hours a day for 1,000 people? Like, yeah. So what do you do
Yeah.
there?
So
Yeah.
what? Yeah. You're boring. Nobody's paying attention to you any fucking way, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, how do you quantify it through fuckery? Yeah. Multiply by fuckery. What do you got then? What do you got then? What do you got then? Multiply by fuckery.
Right. Exactly. Shit.
But that's where we at. It's kind of like, like, bro, I am glad that we are where we are now. Like,
Yeah,
because it's even clearer. Like, every year is even clearer
bro. It was
what
a
these
cold
people are
war,
on.
like you said. This was a
Yeah,
cold.
it's
This is
Cold
a
War.
cold war. This is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
cold war. Yeah. This
Yeah,
is a
black male
long
Cold
game
War.
type of thing. Yeah. It's a black male cold war, and this is a long game situation. And we're gonna play this motherfucker out. Real shit.
Yeah. They're gonna build their stockpiles of fuckery that they're not gonna be able to drop on the general public.
Okay. Yeah. Use what is that? Like fucking dud ass weapons. Like they're
Yes.
like duds and shit.
Yeah. It's
Blanks.
kind of like
Hey, a bunch
how
of
during
fucking
World War
blanks.
II that they was dropping like wooden bombs on fake bases and shit that was created by the Nazis. It's the same shit. Same
Oh
shit.
shit.
I mean, but this is what and it's like we still desperately want to find somebody else to blame for not competing.
Blame yourself.
I mean, I mean,
Blame yourself.
it sounds like some fucking Herman Cain shit. It sounds like some Herman Cain shit. Blame yourself. But, but at the end of the day, we have better starting means and better ending means. Me, I had to go to the military to get out of the Mississippi Delta, be able to do shit with my life. Now you can just move to another kinfolk's neighborhood because back then I didn't have people whose family that I can move to. I mean, there was a Nashville, there was a Memphis. The shit was the same. No public transportation, broke as fuck. So getting that economic groundwork beneath you and going other places and being very restrictive on your procreative faculty. So that way, by the time you actually did come into your minimum productivity piece, you wouldn't have to be settled down with house,
Yeah,
car,
you gotta
woman,
you gotta get into
kid.
that you gotta get to that age and stage, right? Which I always say, dude, bare fucking minimum 35. Don't even think about the shit until 35.
I mean, with these people who are not really cultured the way that an actual functioning society, because there's no group plan. There's individual plan where one person make it, a million people don't, and everybody keep following the same plan. What's going on, Rail? What's going on,
Bro, what up though?
Peace out, man. Happy holidays, man.
The holidays,
Um,
bro.
I just seen a comment in the chat that I thought was very appropriate to this conversation. Um, a comment based on that's centered around uh, boring content or so-called boring content. So, for example, me and Complex have been doing a really deep dive on black the history of black business. We're going to be touching on black inventors as well, really from the post slavery and uh, post Reconstruction era around the turn of the 20th century. And this is what the issue is right here. Um, a lot of black people think things are boring when it forces you to have to think and make space in your brain because you filled your brain up with stupidity. It
purposely,
hurts.
purposely.
And so the reality of the situation is that when you talk about somebody like John Sibley Butler, who a black man who was at the University of Texas, who has done great work detailing and writing about the contributions of the black business class, who has been to countries like Japan to help train Japanese workforces. This is a black man now. He's a PhD in sociology. His background is dealing with black business experience. Juliet Walker, who has done great work cataloging the black business experience in history at the University of Texas as well. I think she's actually the part chairwoman. Um, when you take these people into consideration, they're doing phenomenal work as it relates to the history of uh, black black business in the United States. Um, I learned from Butler that going back to the 1700s, there were free black people who literally were building schools in Africa, in places like Lagos and other places. So when you find out about this history, there's first of all our contributions to the United States and to the world as Black Americans. There's nothing fucking boring about that shit.
Thank
Nothing.
you. Thank you.
We would never come to a foreign country and say that the contribution that the great people of your land has given y'all is boring. And quite frankly, I'm getting sick and fucking tired of no good niggas who want to troll and who want to be clowns and court gestures who don't put no research into nothing. They just hop from panel to panel, fucking with people, coming out talking about some shit is boring because it's making you think. Them niggas don't never say that white people shit. When they go take them classes with white people and they get taught by some white person who many of us have taken classes and we've had some boring white teachers. They never call them motherfuckers boring.
Well, you
Biology,
know,
They never say
matter.
that
sociology,
shit.
criminology.
Only when they
No,
come
matter
around
of
black
fact,
people,
they
they want to
extol the
lower the
virtues.
fucking standard to some fucking court gesture shit. Man, fuck them niggas, man. And the dumb
They
nigga that
extol
said
the
that shit in the
virtues,
fucking
bro.
comment section, fuck that nigga too. But
Look,
that
they
shit is some
extol the
bullshit.
virtues. They extol the
Like this
virtues.
shit ain't boring. Our history ain't boring. Our contribution is not boring. It needs to
Yeah,
be brought to the fore so black people can have some confidence in themselves and some self-esteem to be better
There's
than
some
what
of
the
them.
fuck they are now. The reason why
There's
so
some
many
of them.
black people are fucking failing is because they don't really know what they've done in the past.
exactly.
All they see is white people contributions. They don't see none of the contributions their own people have left. Because if they did, maybe that shit would inspire them to do some great shit themselves.
And I'm saying what
And
they do
that's
is they
why we're
extol,
doing this work
yeah, they extol the
for
virtues.
free.
But check it out. They appreciate and extol the virtues of the contributions of other cultures, which I find interesting. Now, from my position, as somebody who just appreciates innovation and elevation of societies through innovation, right? I can appreciate every and all cultures that have the ability to bring something unique to the table. Like every time we talk about the Chinese, we look at global manufacturing. We talk about the Japanese. We talk about technological innovation. We talk about the Koreans. They've been able to really synthesize the two to make very good products, right? We can extol the virtues of German automotive engineering, all this other stuff, and I appreciate it all. But you know what I appreciate even greater? The shit that we've done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I couldn't hear y'all talking. I don't know who was talking.
No,
Uh,
you disconnected for a second. You tend to do that a lot when you jump on. But yeah, I just added you back to the conversation. Sorry about that. But yeah, it's just at the end of the
what was the
day.
last thing y'all heard me say? I don't know why this shit keep going. What was the last thing y'all heard me say?
No, no, no. When you were just kind of referencing how it is that they'll extol the virtues of what others have to teach with regards to society and contributions and cultures and stuff like that, and there's a greater appreciation for others and what it is that they've contributed to global society, and there seems to literally just be a negligence or a dismission, right? A
Mm-hmm.
dismissal of what it is that we've actually done. But
Mm-hmm.
that's actually where we falter. That's actually where we falter because if we really took that part seriously, we would then be moved to reconnect to that industrious spirit that we once had. That
Right.
was that was taken. This is the shit that you're covering on the live streams. There was a battle for the business class, the industrious class, and the intelligentsia class.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what happened. Now, when I've done like the automotive live stream, maybe 3 weeks ago, a month ago, I showed y'all what brothers was doing in the late 1800s and the turn of the 20th century. I showed it. That was in the
Right.
automotive sector, building carriages, shells, EVs, all that shit.
I
See,
mean, the
so
carriage wheel
how
itself and part of that mechanism. It's like no credit is given. The people who are here don't care about it, but somehow we're supposed to overcompensate with all that with generations
but
of
how do
people
you
who are downloading mental illness inside of people's brains as an actual normal framework of doing business. It's just
but how do you
crazy.
go how do you go how do you go from that type of history fresh up out of slavery, right? Based on the narrative, this is what was going on fresh up out of that shit. But fast forward to going on 2024 and look where our black asses is at as a collective now. And you really have to you have to take a step back and take inventory. You gotta ask some hardcore questions, man. And that's what Rael is breaking down in these Carter the Booker T and now the Carter G. Woodson series of live streams. Look, like I said, the shit is gonna piss you off.
Yeah, I mean, but it only pisses you off as in the framework of how long do you want to look at this scene? I had to look at it when I
Exactly.
left home. Yeah, I had to realize couldn't speak English. Nobody can understand what the hell I'm talking about. It's either I could be able to use Mississippi as an excuse, use the upbringing as an excuse, use Chef Cropper from the previous two generations as an excuse, or I can learn how things work and I can take the actual mission to them better than they could be able to do it. And that's exactly what I did. The
Every
victimhood route did not work for me.
dude, everybody has a point of origin, right? It's called your birth date. Okay, you have a point of origin. It's whatever the circumstances were. That on that day, that's when your ass got here. Now, from there, at a certain point, we come to the realization that as humans, we possess this thing called free will, right? And
Yep.
that's the ultimate accountability piece. It really is.
Retrospection and free will, both
Thank you.
together.
Go
I mean,
ahead.
because people understand the free will and then they inject the actual victimhood inside of it. But once you take both of them together, I mean, you can't get, gunpowder unless you have, sulfur and saltpeter. You can light up sulfur all you want to, won't do anything. You can light up saltpeter all you want to, don't do anything. Put them both together, you got gunpowder. End of the day, you're not going to be able to project anything forward without taking them both together. You can dodge it as much as you want to, but it's not going to work. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, you brothers? What's up, man? What's up,
Gone.
Brian? What's up, Complex?
You know what it is, big bro. What it is? It's good.
What it do? What it do? No. I'm just, I'm not working today, so I just listen to this. I'm just listening to what you guys are break it down here real quick. I'll chime in a moment. I'm just taking care of something here real quick, but I'm gonna chime in. I'm listening. Uh, y'all once again breaking breaking it down. That's what I like. All right, I'll be back in a sec. All right, guys.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I think you're back, Rael. I see two of you there. So,
No, he's
back,
good. I
Rael.
think he's there now.
Can y'all hear me
Ryle?
now?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I
there
can
you
hear you
go.
now.
Can y'all hear me?
All right.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Can you hear us? Wait, can he hear us?
No, I can hear him. Can y'all hear
No,
him?
as I'm saying, we can hear him. I'm wondering if he can hear us.
Yeah, I can hear y'all. I can hear y'all.
Okay, all right, there you go. All right.
For some reason, man, my beats, my Bluetooth keep disconnected from my phone.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So, all right. So let's go over this history of when did this happen. That the actual business class of people who wanted to move forward have actually integrated with the entertainment class of people, and there's been this great movement between both of these personnel. When did that happen? I don't recall it ever happening, but I think that we keep trying to do it through these actual avatars. Like, when did it happen?
Well, this I don't know anybody who has grown up with their either grandparents or grandparents. Many of us, like if we're Generation X or you know uh, late boomers, many of us had access to our grandparents, our great grandparents. If you had any men, in terms of your grandparents that you've been around, like or older uncles, they were no nonsense type men. They didn't gallivant around with stupid dudes. Like that never was the posture at all. Like it never was. And so there was never any uh, mixture of those two sides. Like the productive guys stayed on the side of being productive and productivity, and the ne'er do wells they were on the other side. There was a clear line of demarcation. Only now in the social media era, there's been some kind of confluence of those sides, and I just only believe it's only been that way because you have had dudes like O'Shea and other cats who have tried to push the idea that they were on some productive shit as a way to try to make it seem like they should be taken seriously by women, because that was the rub, that was the trick, that was the ruse, to use the notion of productivity to make yourself be looked upon as somebody that should get chose by these hoes, but really you're here for the fuckery and the bullshit. So that's where this mentality has come in from in terms of emerging, but in real life, that shit don't merge at all. It don't merge. It can't.
Got somebody new to the panel. What's going on, man? Never seen you up here before.
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on, MOT? What's good?
What's going on? Who's this?
DD.
Your name's I don't know. Never seen the DD talk in the chat. So
Mm.
um, yeah, I haven't seen you talk in the chat ever. So how may I help you? We have to answer the conversation.
First off, you fat fuck need to stop simping. You fucking fat.
All right, man. Let's get this conversation back on track.
Man,
All right, go
what
ahead.
the fuck, man?
No,
I
it's
mean,
cool, man.
you
All
get
right,
these guys that come up here
all
and
right.
sound like a bunch of fools. It's just, I knew that was going to be the case, but
No, it's
but
fine. It's fine. It's fine, man. Just get the conversation back on track. Just make sure you wasn't playing no porn or no stupid shit like that. We good. It's just that. Listen, I don't have live streams on women. You cannot call me a simp if I do not give a fuck about what women think.
no,
I don't
no,
have conversation live streams on women. So I guess you're a simp when you don't talk about women. I guess that's a deal. But man, let's not even focus on that guy. Let's move along. Let's move along with it.
yeah, that is
All
the
right.
space. These guys
Nah,
want
man,
to just.
it is, and it's like my uncle had to knock somebody's face off for doing some shit just like that. Like we was over my cousin's house because he never leaves his place and go down there. He was like, man, look, if somebody say something stupid, I gotta get them. I gotta get them. I'm gonna stand up, and you gonna have to let me get a clean shot of them. So a lot of these dudes were like talking about their families and all this stuff, and this dude just came over like, man, y'all think y'all all that because y'all got your stuff together. And I just seen my uncle kind of stand up on his cane and he looked at me and just waited this dude mid sentence. Came down with the strong hand of everything. And we just pulled him out, throwed him in the front yard, and just kept up the conversation. That's what you have to do. Down there, they don't deal with dudes. Like they don't allow you to challenge their actual authority within an environment. They don't want to bring up that they failed. They don't want to bring up that they done everything wrong. They don't want to hear any of that. They want to hear nothing but praises.
Mm.
Nothing but praises. And it's like, I don't even care about it because I know these dudes are cowards. You know what I'm saying? Okay, just tell me who you are, what channel you come from, and I just hold your actual person who you're responsible with. And no, man, let's get this stuff back on track. All these dudes got is trying to derail conversations because the conversation is not centered around them. They're being left behind. They're being left behind on purpose. They don't like that. They will rather listen to the woman be the head of the conversation so that way they could be a part of the conversation than them bringing any sort of value to any level of conversation. That's why I put the picture up. Make sure you ain't trying to play no porn or no stupid shit. I just wait till you get two words out of your mouth and just get you up out of here. So let's keep going, man.
All right. Well, I want to say I want to circle back to. I think we were just kind of talking about um, what was taking place at the turn of the 20th century, right? And we this sort of back and forth, this tussle, this philosophical tussle, is not a new venue for black men. It's not. It's
Oh
actually
no.
quite an old one. It's actually quite an old one.
I mean, hip hop, R&B, black exploitation to actual conscious movie making and teaching people how things work. From, I'm sorry, when Bill Cosby first came out talking about history to the escapism that he actually displayed on the Cosby Show, it's been the same shit throughout years. It's been the same thing. It's not been different. There are people who want to keep this conversation the same. That's all.
Well, they stay relevant more from that perspective. When you start to move the conversation away from that, their relevancy um, becomes decreased. So they become less relevant. So progress is a situation as that's something that a lot of people don't want to deal with. One of the big issues we've even had just in this manosphere over the last couple of years has been the self-development, self-improvement piece, and really talking about that from tech to away from tech, but moving into let's say one of the big things you and I used to talk about a lot was trucking as well. Having getting people CDLs and so forth, and people moving forward there. Well, just improving on some very on some basic levels to where you are moving from where you were to where you kind of more want to be. And a lot of people can't get with that conversation either. Can't get with that because they're not
Hey man,
not
that's
like
not our
they're
fault.
not about.
It's
Yeah.
it's like, look, I don't enter dumb nigga zones and try to enforce myself upon them. I don't do that. I don't even care about doing that. I don't care about entering any of these live fuckery live streams and try to draw the conversation toward productivity. I just allow y'all to exist. I'm happy that you have most of the people over there who want to talk about that shit. And once I see people over there that's over there, I just block you from coming back over here and pretending like you're part of our group. And we just roll like that from going forward. Because here's the thing, smaller channels work better with concise information that can be passed down. You don't need a large following for shit to be right. Like a lot of these people think that I'm just here to pump up the numbers to 1,000 and 5 billion and 6 jillion in the fucking chat so that way I could just hide behind the collective lostness of those people. Like, bro, I don't care about none of that shit. You get your shit together where you don't need fuckery and bullshit to make your own shit go forward. You don't need any of those people's help with anything. A functioning society works without those people. And it always has.
Very true.
Hold on, man. I'm just pulling up. I'm pulling up back into the house right now.
All right, so let's talk about this actual issue to where 2024. I think the greatest threat that's always been a great threat to men is this Maggle and decent human being collaboration shit. Because one group of people don't need a blind eye. The other group of people consistently depends on a blind eye for their actual existence.
Break that
Mm,
down again, MOT.
yeah.
Yeah, I said that
I'm
the
just getting.
actual Maggle and normal human being collaboration, this whole we're gonna let bygones be bygones, we just gonna come together as one group of people. Fuck that. End of the day, you're the reason why we're here. You don't need to have deliberate actions within this group to be a part of the problem. You could just be not working toward a solution or just have a blind eye to shit or just don't want any criticism toward the people you fuck with to keep this shit going. I think all of those things operate as the same tool to keep this movement not moving forward. And I don't even blame O'Shea or I don't blame none of those people. I blame the people who wanted to listen to that shit with a new clean slate rather than get in line between people who have actual accomplishments. And it's like the women didn't make people do this shit.
Well, before you even go further, I think that's a very important insight because people act like we haven't been here in this space for a long time. We have given pretty much all these dudes a chance to really show who they are. The problem is that once we saw how who they were, we didn't fuck with them. Like we like, nah, that ain't gonna get it done. And so this is just really the legacy of these types of people. Like they pieces of shit type people because you can't have a space like this that's filled with black men and talk about the issues of black boys and they can't read and all these different types of things, which is something that's very real in terms of being able to learn in this environment because you live in a knowledge-based economy. The proper practical knowledge is where the success is. So to use these men in this way is some treasonous behavior because there are men in these spaces that are looking for answers and they're so discombobulated by this female conversation because the reality of the situation is that they're using the female conversation to obscure the fact that they don't have any kind of plan to help direct these men in the right direction.
And
Th-
outside of doing some fucking content creation bullshit, they don't have no type of plan to get paper together. Because see, there's a thought, right, in the Manister lesser spaces that black men can't work together to get money. Bullshit, already done it. And
Yeah,
black
yeah.
men can't get together, within the manosphere to make some moves and make some money. Bullshit, already done it. You see, so like I'm real sick and tired of the bullshit. I'm just gonna keep it a buck,
I mean,
right?
but at the
Yeah.
end of the day, man, I'm not gonna hold Hardcore Tito responsible for what MJ Freestyle's doing. Hardcore Tito did not wake up this morning and call this dude to come here and do this. Like, this is the great thing about it. O'Shea never wake up and told the dude to come in here like a fucking black bell torpedo and to disrupt the
Well,
conversation.
that's bull. No,
They
no, no, no,
never
no. That's
fucking do that
bullshit.
shit.
No, that's bullshit. Niggas like him have tried to go behind the scenes to get motherfuckers to not fuck with people like us.
No, 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 no.
So they
Like
have
that
moved like that.
that has happened. But what I'm saying, what happened here this morning, is not of their creation. Most times when people are like organizing behind the scenes, it's not as upfront with a name like this. You can't draw a line between this dude doing that and doing that shit. So I'm gonna hold this guy responsible for his own behavior, and we're just gonna keep this conversation going because at the end of the day, we're putting an end to these bullshit motherfuckers around us, right? Because when you talk about women, you're not part of the fucking manosphere, and it's time to wrap up this bitch talk. It's time to wrap this shit up and throw it in the motherfucking garbage. It's time to wrap
see
this
that.
shit up.
Hold on. You and I both know. All of us know. The Gone as well. Complex knows this. We have had different iterations of this same back and forth. Okay. And every time that we have had these iterations, what we have seen, what we have seen.
I don't hear anything.
What we have
You still
seen.
there?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
Can y'all hear me?
Okay, there you
Can y'all
go.
hear me?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there you
go
go.
ahead. Yeah, go
Okay,
ahead.
my
Go
bad.
ahead.
What we have had in this space is the same iterations of this same kind of conversation. When we put the onus on them, they always retreat to, hey, we're giving the audience what they want. But that's a lie. Because we have seen plenty of dudes in these dude spaces that say, hey, are we going to continuously talk about the women all the time? They, see, when they get the pushback, they defer to it's their audience fault. Dude, you the one that's
Yeah, it
firing
is.
up the stream. You
That's
the
what I'm
one
saying,
coming with
bro.
the topic. You came with this. So
I mean,
let's
this
stop
is.
that bullshit.
I mean, is it the pork ribs fault, or is it the fucking Kingston charcoal fault, or is it the lighter fluids fault? Somebody had to go to the checkout counter at Kroger with this shit, right? With all this shit in
Well,
the same
no,
bag and box.
MOT. Like, no. See, the thing is, somebody made the charcoal and shit available.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
hey,
so
nobody asked them to buy it. It's just it's like the crack cocaine shit and the heroin shit and the pills. That shit existed long before the people knew that that shit was a problem. And when they want to go into it and actually be on that shit, listen, man, you just got to lead them there with that, and that's it. Just
well,
keep the conversation moving without 'em. So
my question is that at what point does societal matters, and I'm talking about ones of a larger perspective, right? At what point do these things start to become maybe say like conversation pieces, or has humanity are any of that so far fucking gone where like things like the prospect of global war and all this type of shit literally just flies right over their head. I remember like back in
it
the
does fly over their
2000s,
head. It
it flies
flies
over
over
their
their
head.
head.
Oh, okay. Because
I mean, it flies over their
because
head because they're not being directly affected by anything until they see the gas prices go up, which is way too fucking late to think about
which
anything after you didn't vote or participate in society or not drive a gas guzzling vehicle that motherfucker took $125 to fucking fill up for you to only go 2 blocks within the radius of where you fucking live at because you want to stun on hoes. Like all
well,
that shit is a problem before you even fill up the gas tank.
yo, man, just based on the shit that's been happening over the last 48 fucking hours in the Red Sea, man, I would not be surprised if we see a spike come January in gas prices. Okay.
No, it's already in the works, man. It's already in the works. I'm not
Oh,
because
okay.
the winter price of diesel is supposed to be far less than the actual summer. It's supposed to be far higher than the summer blend. The actual winter
Uh-huh.
blend of diesel is supposed to be far higher. So for diesel to be at the rate that it is now, they're just warming your ass up for the next 2 years of $3 and $4 a gallon diesel because they're gonna get their money back. Trust me, these people don't pay
Exactly,
any
exactly,
taxes,
exactly.
and they are wholly owned subsidiary of most of the actual government. So they're
Well,
just
we
gonna raise the
we
prices
saw that.
around.
I was going to say we saw that during the first skirmish that happened over there in
Yeah,
that Red Sea, Iraq area back in was that 2003? I remember when gas spiked up to shit $5 $4 or $5 a gallon right when that popped off, and I'm like, oh shit, here we go again, right? But the whole point to that, not to get all deep into that, but these are going to be this is going to be a thing that you can't act as if it's not happening, right? And so then the onus becomes, okay, well, are we going to be more serious minded in terms of being global citizens, or are we really that fucking hung up on Simone Biles and her hubby?
Maybe the case. Hold on a second. Apparently, people are timing people out and hiding niggas in the goddamn chat. Like, man, I think I'm just gonna have to remove wrenches from everybody within the space except for content creators and people on the brain trust. Cause I can't be having motherfuckers just timing people out for no fucking reason. It doesn't even matter who done it for what reason. Like, if I kick you the fuck out of here, like I didn't even kick MJ Freestyle the fuck out of here. It's just I just answered this fucking question and that's just the end of the story. Now you don't have anything constructive to add, then just don't be a part of the conversation. Don't give a fuck where you come at or come from, or the dude who came on as DD who wants to call me a simp even though I don't even talk about women at all. I mean, but these are this is their only defense on anything in society, man. So I just say, man, just move it forward, and there's plenty of fuckery streams for them to be on, and you just handle them like a man up front. That's it. And it's like we don't even need most of these things going on in society. It's just that the women are not doing this shit. It's the men who's coming forth and keeping this shit going. That's all it is. There's never been no collaboration. The shit has been fake. It's always have been fake.
Well,
I,
well,
I,
that's
I don't know what the problem is.
that's
Go ahead.
that's why people are mad at you, because you're not talking about wasting time talking about women. You're not talking about them. It was very interesting. I was working with my grandson the other day. We were doing algebra, algebra together. And he's at a grade level now where I'm saying, listen, you got to start thinking about making sure your grades are high, because you're gonna be looking at college. We're gonna be looking at some things, so we want to get strong. So he was like, yeah, Grandpa. So we're going over well, it's college algebra, so we're going over the trigonometry, some of the trigonomic functions and all. So we were dealing with some of that, that whole SOHCAHTOA thing and all that. So it's pretty funny. So I'm like, you're doing pretty good. You're doing good, man. So I'm like, what about the girls? I ask them this question periodically. The girls, the women, right? And and he says, Grandpa, I have to get my grades together. I don't have a lot of time to be running around here trying to chase these girls. I gotta get my grades right. If I see a good girl, I think it's good. That's fine. But right now, I'm really trying to concentrate on getting my school. And I'm like, oh sweat. I'm like, I didn't even coax this question. Well, I mean, he talks to Grandpa all the time. He talks to me, so I guess he definitely knows how I think. But his whole mindset was, let me get my school grades right. When
Let me
I'm
get my
right at
mind
the
right. Let me get my
get your
body right.
mind right. So with my mind and get my grades right. So he wants to be at a certain level before he thinks he wants to waste time behind these girls. Now when you were a very young teen, 12, 13, 14, and that age, you're gonna have some interest in girls. I'm not saying not to have that, but that's what he told me. That's what this young man told me. Now he definitely is his grandfather's grandson. There's no doubt about that. But he is definitely on top of that. And this is a kid. These are kids talking. So that's why when I see these grown-ups running around acting crazy and saying the illest things, I just have no respect. I just have no respect for them. I just don't respect them. I just don't, because we know what's important. The girls are not going to get him the grades that he wants. He understands that. If he's going to go to a good school, so the girls that are going to do this for him. He's got to get that done himself. He's got to be thinking about that himself, and he's going to be responsible for what's going to happen to him in his future. He's responsible for that, and that's what we're really trying to push a lot here I would say certainly on this sector of the manosphere. So that's where that's the kind of stuff I would like us to be talking about. Any man in his late 30s, 40s, 50s, running around here all torn up behind some females, I can't fucks with you. I can't do it. Your mind ain't right.
We ain't fucking with you.
I ain't fucking with you, and that's it. And I'm keeping my circle very small. I deal
Very
with
small.
only very few people, man. So I'm not out here trying to run around a whole lot. So I see guys all over the place. But if you're letting these females or these crazy Negroes sidetrack you and take you off your game, that's on you. It's on you. You have to really, and when I see young Z's out here like my grand talking like this, I can't accept this off of men in their 40s and 50s, and so it's insane.
Many of us recognize that many black males have grown up without the proper masculine influence.
Whew, man, that's a
So,
major part of it.
so
Major
we,
part
we
of it.
come we come to these discussions with that. We know that that is a heavy burden to carry, especially if you didn't have your father in your life. We understand that. So when you come in a space, man, of men such as ourselves, and we're trying to help give you the blueprint, what we're trying to do is try to stand in for the lack of masculine influence you had in your family. We don't have to fucking do that shit. We don't have to give a shit. But you can't sit here and turn around on one end, complain about the state of the conditions of black people, specifically black men, because this is a black male, supposed to be a black male centered space. I would argue it's a female centered space, but that's a story for another day.
No, but it is a female centered space.
No,
Like,
no, no. I'm saying
yeah.
it's a story for another day. But what I'm saying is, you can't complain about the state of black men, and then when you're providing information that helps the improvement of said black men, you call it boring. Like at some point, black people don't have to get their heads out their fucking ass and really focus on what's most important. What's really most important in life? Handling your business and family. Everything outside of that is a fucking distraction. Now we understand that part of life is you want to go to a basketball game to kind of escape entertainment. Yeah, we get it. It's a part of it. It is what it is. But 99% of your life should be on handling your business and focusing on your family. If that's not your focus in life, why are you even having conversations about females who are a part of that type of conversation? If you don't have any interest, because a lot of these dudes that have these channels, I find it very ironic that a lot of these content creators that have these channels that's focused on how bad women are. We find out later, oh, they have a woman though. They have a woman behind the scenes, and it's like, are y'all dudes gonna ever wake up and see the game that's played on y'all? Like these dudes are clowns, man. Like we come from an era. First of all, if you was groomed in the '90s era, man, let me tell you something. Yo, we had people, man. We had we had dudes that we call OGs that will put us up on how things work, and then you will have old niggas too who will be solely focused on or trying to get you to be solely focused on how to get some ass from a chick. You got to know the difference between the two. You got to know the difference between an OG that's trying to give you some knowledge that can help you grow and a dude that's trying to keep you on a circle jerk. Keeping you focused on females is a circle jerk. It is a con game because when it comes to a certain age of you as a boy, at a certain point, when you're in the right type of family, the men are going to take a hold of you and get your ass right.
But
And
that's
they're not
not the
going to
only
care
thing.
about your feelings. They're not going to care about your feelings and all of that other type of shit. They're going to be like, come over here and we're going to set up this target and I'm going to show you how to shoot this gun. They're going to do things like that to help you grow and accept your responsibility as it relates to your manhood. They're not going to keep you in a circle jerk about females.
No, I mean, man, like in my family, it was handled quite quickly. Quickly, it was like, look, we got to go to work. You're gonna be in this community on the weekends and outside of us being here. We're gonna tell you what to do, right or wrong. You decide not to follow our instruction and you end up hanging up there anyway, you're a lost cause. We're not going to spend additional time worried about you. We're going to worry about other people because there was no allowing you to ride in both camps. While they at work 8 to 5, sometimes overnight, and you sitting up there with the outside the corner store dudes talking about stupid shit. Like 3 years ago, I had outside the corner store dudes talking to me about crypto. These niggas haven't seen a regular paycheck in 30 years, but they're talking to me about crypto. But there was a lot of younger dudes out there that didn't belong out there. And most people don't keep rewarning people. Like if you're trying to ride in both camps, like, well, these people are pandering to where I'm at. You need to pander to me harder or even trying to garner my interest on the right thing. And I was like, no, man, we're not doing that. Go over there where you feel good at. And then when they don't get the help because of where they spend the majority of their time, that's what it's on, man. It's like, bro, we haven't mastered the art of just leaving these motherfuckers behind. Because here's the thing, I don't jump up on motherfuckers' panels on some, you got to talk about productive shit. I don't do that. At the end of the day, you know what the space is for. You know what the space is about. And I never see somebody who's on this whoop this Keisha content. They're never around Wacky World or O. They're never around Mike V trying to have this argument. Never around Q Soul and Black going into his comment section saying that the motherfuckers didn't exist. They don't go around all the other people from 1.0 even having this conversation about why we need to keep sending around shit because attention and fuckery and bullshit is the only way that you can be able to do business. That has nothing to do with us. That's a person trying to get their individual shit off the actual lack of focus of the entire group. And you can't run a compromise game inside of a progressive game. That's what we allowed to happen. It's like the people who had the background to do shit was outnumbered by people building an anti-manosphere within the manosphere.
Mhm.
An anti-manosphere. Like these people was building an anti-fucking manosphere here, trying to keep the shit focused on women on some productive fuckery shit. Like, oh, okay, we receiving a check off this shit. We have the inability to survive based off of this shit. That's the problem. And it's like, I'm not even focused on these dudes. Like, look, when you come up here, there's a problem. You say something in the chat, more of a problem. Less of a problem. But at the end of the day, we still got to move the conversation forward. 2024. It, it'll be now 10 years in the fucking manosphere now.
Mhm.
And you got more and more people centered on Simone Biles and motherfucker care about actual shit that's happening in society. That's not a black manosphere fault. That is nothing that the black manosphere has actually had any level of creating.
No,
There's a lot of stuff that
no,
happened outside of this.
no, it's not. It's not. That has more to do with those who align themselves with said manosphere, right?
Man,
And
that's
and what draws their fucking attention. Like I said, dude, like, dude, Simone Biles and her fucking husband and the sheer amount of niggas talking about it. I'm just like, dude, you guys are all fucking toast.
out of here.
Unbelievable.
Niggas don't even understand that the toaster wastes more electricity than the fucking refrigerator. Call yourself trying to roast a nigga. Like, bro, what the fuck is this?
Oh my god.
Well, I mean,
But they're trying to live through media or people who are considered celebrities. No different than the females who tried to live through Serena when she married Wayne. Like they want to stand in. Well, yeah, because he's the prize. Well, okay, yeah, he might be the prize over there, but you ain't one. You ain't. So at the end of the day, it's like people are literally using this social media shit as a way to redefine themselves through some fictitious notion of themselves online. Let me tell you something. Me and my fiance went to the Anita Baker concert last week in Dallas. And if anybody has not seen this woman in concert while she's still alive, you need to. Beautiful voice, just angelic. Great show. And the it was so many women that was there that was single. And it dawned on me that, man, a lot of these females, they want love, they just don't know how to go about getting it. And so, a lot of times, a certain type of conversation has to be had to open up a gateway. And we all have dealt with um, this environment um, that has not been so kosher to family. A lot of the cultural wars, we've all had to deal with this stuff on a certain kind of level. But at the end of the day, man, family should be at the center of what you're trying to do in life. Family should be at the center of it because family is business and business is family. So if you don't have that kind of mindset, like a lot of these dudes will sit here and talk about women like they're supposed to be easy to get. Okay, well, when the marriage rate in Black America was 90%, do you think it was easy for you to fuck a man's daughter? Because it wasn't. Because
Not
that
really.
man would took your head off your shoulders. So when they're sitting out here talking about if the women are easy to get, that means they're hoes. Do you want that as a wife? See, they don't even understand the true order of things because having sex with women in terms of regular women outside of prostitution should not be easy. It never was. That's why there's so many rules in societies that's geared toward protection of women, specifically against men who don't have honorable intentions for them. It's not to say that men are bad. It's just saying that every woman is not a wife for every man that approaches her. Matter of fact, most men who approach a woman just want sex anyway. So it's incumbent upon the woman to be able to filter those guys, which means she has to have men, men in her family to help her do such things. The problem is that they don't have that. So they become easy prey. But
And that's the term, pray for these individuals because they think anybody, any actual attention that they get is the right one. This is why I don't bother managing it. The outcomes is the outcomes. There are plenty productive, thirsty ass dudes out here who can't wait to get off the market. But if they're not up here, then you have to be able to be like, okay, that's where we at.
You know, there's
They're
various markets. There's various markets, right? There's that. I guess there's that market. There's the global market in terms of business. What markets are we focalizing on? Is the question, right? You can focus on various markets all at the same time simultaneously, but what do you prioritize? Is the question.
yeah, I don't even worry about. I mean, I don't think it's something I can fix. That's how come I don't even try to bring it up
No,
at
I'm just
all.
throwing it out there, MOT. I mean, you know what time it is. I'm just
Yeah,
just
yeah, yeah,
throwing that
yeah.
out there, right? Because there's that dating market thing. There's the Chinese fulfillment market in terms of like manufacturing. There's the crypto markets, I guess, right? There's the traditional stock markets and all that kind of shit. Right. There's the various markets. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but they're like walking up to homeless people and asking them about like the actual the menu at Papa Do's or the Great Wall downtown in Denver, man. Like they don't know what the fuck you talking about, bro. Like they have no idea what you are talking about. I mean, it sounds great. You can you get them in order and in line, but that's what it is.
yeah, a lot of these people don't understand that a lot of people on both sides. And I think if there was anything that was valuable to see from Kevin was the fact that on both sides of the aisle, there are just a lot of low class black men and black women.
Woo,
And
man.
I don't say this. I'm not saying this because I'm really hating on black people or I want black people to be that way. I'm saying low class in terms of no proper manners, no proper etiquette. You don't understand how to build personal relationships or business relationships because that's the key to success in life. If you don't know how to build personal and business relationships, you will not be very successful in life. And so a lot of black people have taken a fuck it, just fuck it mentality towards these things. I should just be able to have what I want because I want it. That shit don't work in the real world.
They want to live like the women that they complain about. They want to live
That's
like
on
the
both.
women that
That's
they
on both.
complain about.
Yeah, that's on both sides. That's the kid's mentality, though. I want what I want because I just want it. Have you done anything to deserve it, though? No. Well, you ain't getting that shit. That's how we were taught. You have to actually be a certain type of person to get certain things, to get certain privileges. And so, marriage, when you look at something like marriage, marriage is a privilege. It's not a right. I mean, you have the right to get married, but you have to earn it. You have to be of the kind of mindset that could be of a person that could be successful at it. I tell people all the time, don't apply for a job that you don't have the skill set to do. And a lot of
Exactly.
people on both sides don't have the fucking skill
They don't
sets
have.
necessary to be successful in something like a marriage. This is a commitment. So if you don't have no staying power, you know, um, like you are not going to be successful. It's just that's just the way it is. It's, if it was a sport and if you had commitment issues and it was a sport, are you going to be successful in the sport? No, you're going to fail. It's
I
no
would.
different
Well,
than this other stuff. So we have to really put this on the table because this low class mentality in Black America
And it is a class issue.
is
It is a
it is a
class
yeah.
issue.
class issue. It's stifling the ability to improve because as you grow and you keep layering these bad habits, when you become an adult, you're gonna be a fucked up adult. And now you're gonna have
Yes,
to
you
be out here
will.
in the world ingratiated because the world is ran typically by adults. So when you have to get into this world of adults, but you have a kid approach to life, you're gonna find yourself, man, very unsuccessful and lonely
Very
because you
quickly.
don't know how.
Very
Well,
quickly.
well,
And it's
well, wait a
like
minute.
you're gonna feel out of place. Like once men talk, you're gonna feel out of place and you're gonna have to walk in like some on some like cannonball shit to like stop the conversation from happening. Like
But
that's what I like about these conversations. It's like you don't have more principled men stepping up. You have more bitch ass niggas who step in who want to stop the actual conversation from happening. That's the
yeah,
great thing about it.
like what happened earlier. But hey, Ryo, didn't we do two Safe Field live streams, one on class and one on elitism,
We sure did.
right? Extolling the virtues. Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, and
Okay.
we're
Okay.
and we're gonna be doing some shows on etiquette and manners and how they fit into your development too. We're gonna come with that kind of content in this next year, and there are gonna be a lot of people who are going to have to come face to face with the reality that you were not raised properly.
You can't talk. You can't talk this marriage shit and relationship shit
Submission
if
shit.
you can't talk none of this shit if you ain't actually fucking done it.
Right.
Like
That's
okay,
that's
so
that's
here
what that's the shit that eats me up about all these motherfuckers talking all this shit and really just muddying the algorithm with a bunch of bullshit. Ain't none of you motherfuckers really done this shit in real time and in real life, so you really shouldn't be talking about the shit. Shut up.
yeah, but here's another thing. They never lived under it. They've never
No,
witnessed it,
no.
but they're
Like
asking for
nothing,
it.
bro. Like
But they're
Right,
nothing.
asking for it. Yeah,
right.
asking for it. Like, okay, let me know what type of woman submitted to a piece of shit who didn't require anything out of them, and the kids that they actually created was some shit that grew up that we all is gonna fucking listen to or live by. This shit ain't never motherfucking happened. And it's like every time you fucking listen to this crazy ass shit, and it's like, bro, listen, let their actual complaints converge. So that way you can know the type of people that you're fucking dealing with.
Right. I mean, the reality of the situation is that we this notion of class is one of the most um, it's underestimated in terms of your growth and development because it's something that has to be taught repetitiously and it becomes a character trait at that point over time. It's just who you are. And this is why we saw so many females trying to use the kind of talking points that Kevin was talking about to try to like, okay, I'm gonna use this and I'm gonna use this on the guy and I'm gonna get a quality guy, and it don't work. Because who you are as a woman is who you are. If you've been raised to be a piece of shit woman, that shit ain't gonna matter. Same thing with dudes. All that game stuff is all fine and well until you meet a quality woman that has a high standard.
Both sides
Now,
gonna see right through the bullshit.
now you gotta really stand on some shit. And this is why I'll give it to dudes. For a lot of dudes, when they do come across that quality woman, they are too cowardly to even approach her. This is how you protect yourself as a woman. When you carry yourself in a proper way, you protect yourself against pieces of shit dudes because you are very intimidating to those type of dudes. You're not intimidating to men. That's why I don't like this conversation when females say, "Oh, a lot of men are intimidated by strong." No, 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 no. Men are not intimidated by an accomplished woman. Men don't like a bitch. Period. Men don't like that. But if you carry
Yeah,
yourself
let's
properly,
not get it fucked up, right?
now if you carry yourself properly, if you're feminine, if you're accomplished, and you still know how to connect with a man on a level that you need to connect to him on, men don't have a problem with you. And this is how you protect yourself by carrying yourself as a quality woman, because a lot of times that means how you dress. I can't tell you how many times I've had conversations with females and I showed them, look at how you dress. You attract dudes who just want to have sex with you and they're just completely confused. They're like, you dress how you want to be addressed. So if you go out here and your ass and titties all out, what does that project to men? That projects that you're easy and you're really low class and you just there for a smash and grab.
Wait,
So
you said dress and address.
yes, you dress how you want to be addressed.
Yeah, I'm just that dress.
That's it.
Yeah, that
That's
dress
that's
word,
how you
right?
protect. Yeah, that's how you protect yourself as a woman. So yeah, a lot of people might disagree with some of the things that Cameron was saying, but when it came to that image stuff in terms of like projecting to the world that you're about quality, that is a real thing. That is a very real thing. I can't tell you how many times me and my fiance have been out and we have had white people, white women specifically, come up and say, "Man, y'all really look good. Y'all really carry yourself very well." Like compliments. Like it's almost as if they're surprised that we're on it like that, which is sad
No,
because we
look,
used to
it's
be
the
the
same
kind of people.
thing.
Surprised that it's
It's
possible. Surprised
Right.
that
well,
it's possible.
it's also the same thing that I get with my daughter and shit, right? Like it's like, dude, I don't want her not. I want her above my shit when I was a kid. Her age, I think that every generation should be a leg up. So when I look at myself in contrast from the time that I was 12 years old and where I was at, what I had access to, and the things that my father required of me, no different than say like when my sister was 12 years old, the things that my father required of her. I duplicate that, but what it is that I make sure that it's adjusted for this time that we're in, right? See, so yeah, I have her rolling around on a electric scooter designed by Porsche, and I have, yeah, and I do, she has a fancy lunch when she goes to school and all that shit, udon noodles and whatever the hell she wants, because that's just what it is that I should be able, not only should be able, but what I'm supposed to do
Yeah, every generation is supposed to be better than the previous.
better than the previous.
That's normal. That's what normal people want. They want the next generation to be better than them.
Yeah, yeah, I
They
was
don't, they
thinking I
don't
was
want they don't
crazy
want the
for a
next
minute.
they
My
don't want
bad.
the next generation
I,
to
was,
fail
I
like
thought I
them.
was tweaking or something.
Nah, you're not, man. It's just like we're. I mean, I forgot what I forget what general it was, and if I look it up, it's like what? The great thing about being surrounded is that you can nearly aim in any direction and that you'll hit something that you need to be hitting. So all
And
thing we need to
MOT,
do
let
is
me
just
do this
spread
too.
around in a circle and just keep going out and just light the flamethrower
And,
and just keep walking to the end
and
of
let
the
me
earth.
do this too. Let me do this too, right? If I had a son, let me tell you, let me tell you, right? I don't, because what I'll get chastised is because that term that was famously coined by Edwin Anderson. Niggas with Daughters. That was actually directed at me, right? Some time back, some years back. But let me tell you something. Let's just say if I was blessed with a son, dude, he'd probably be one of the illest fucking kart racing drivers right now. Rael
On the doubt.
knows this, dude.
On the
Because
doubt.
I saw there's kids that
Damn
I
right.
support that are doing big things on a
I mean,
major
for real.
level, and I and
Boy,
I
oh
even on my
boy, that young dude in
yeah, and
Spain.
even on my channel like that got taken down. I had the video footage when I was training my daughter up, but she was just like, Dad, you know what? I would just rather do cheerleading. You know, see, so it was like, you know what, babe? Oh, okay, okay. But trust and believe. Let's just say if I had a son, I would be every bit as the proud father for him as I am for her. See, so this is going to go both ways here.
I mean, but these
I don't
dudes
want any
became
church
like
misconceptions out
ingratiated in creating proud failures, like this Maggle productive man hybrid. Like that's what they've been turning these kids into, and they think that by being raised by their fathers, that we are the enemy class of them still, not just a father, but of them. And it's like, nah, bro, we got to leave this stuff all the way alone if we want to be able to move all the way forward. And to them, they still feel a need to uphold that level of culture that was passed down to them. Because to them, we're not even part of black culture like that. We are the infiltrators. To them, we are the
there.
infiltrators. We're the people who
Yes,
don't belong
The
here.
exactly.
MOT,
You used the
MOT
perfect
is
word.
the
That was the perfect
MOT
word.
is the impetus for okay. Um, because that was an interesting point you made. You said where they basically hold on to
Yeah.
that previous the previous cultural mechanisms, so to speak, and as opposed to sort of purge a lot of things as we get into adulthood and we start to see maybe what's going to work for us in the future. We purge things, right? Like there's things that have largely been deleted out of, say, even our own family culture. I remember there was a time when, every holiday season, there was a pot of chitlins being made, right? But because of
All the way
the
gone.
health
All the way gone.
concerns of our family members and due to the fact that we all want to stick around and stuff like that, we made these
Mhm.
changes, even
Right,
within our family, within our time, within this generation,
right.
right? So these are conscious decisions, right?
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yes.
I mean, because anybody who was on that stuff to the 100% clip, they all out of here. Like, I don't know nobody who's around, like aunts, great aunts, all those people down in Mississippi. Like, they all out of here. They all out of here, and nobody creates that type of food except for the emerging immigrant class who would cook anything to make money off of these people within this environment. And it's like, it's
Mhm.
not even that many people. It's like, I just seen when I was in Memphis, 13.99 for a chitlin dinner. We're talking about a 3 ounce cup and two sides for 13.99. There was a line around the corner.
Yep.
Hmm.
There's a vegan restaurant down the street, nobody in there. Like,
Nobody there.
it's so it's like you can't fault the dudes for making the money, but at the end of the day, they know that there's a certain group of people who want to hold on to that for whatever
Right.
reason, and the reasons are bad. There's no good reasons to hold on to
Exactly.
things that's not even considered food as the reason why you need to connect to your actual culture when there's better options available. Like there's a lot of information resistant personnel here
Yeah. Yes.
that is encouraged.
Yes. It's the Mo Better Blues theory. It's in the movie with Wesley Snipes and Denzel.
Yeah.
Um, there was a battle between Wesley and Denzel. Wesley wanted to give the people what they wanted.
Yep.
Malcolm, I mean not Malcolm, but Denzel's character wanted to give them something new. He thought that they could appreciate this new thing, and this is where we are. Um, I don't say I don't. I mean, we're a group, but it's not a community. It's just a disparate group of people. We have different factions, different blocks.
It is.
This is one of the reasons why I've been so glad to find out this history of black business and institutions that we built is because I know for a fact that all this talk about, well, what's the solution? Since we've been on social media, we heard black people, what's the solution? What's the solution? What's the solution? And I know for a fact that our people, the business class, did offer solutions. That's what business is about. It's about bringing about solutions. And black people just thumb their noses at the solutions. So don't come here after they did all of what they did. You didn't stick with them. You didn't stick with their products. You didn't stick with their institutions. Don't come here 100 years later and say, because your life is fucked up, that the whole of black people got to take you up under their wing and help you out when you
And
don't
serve
have
you
any
first.
support.
And serve you
No, no, no,
first.
we're not doing that. Now,
And,
now, now, because we have a global market, we don't have to sell a product to you as a black person to make
no,
money.
you
Thank
don't.
God. Thank God. Because if we had to focus on black people as a consistent demographic to make money from, we will never stay in business. And this is sad because when you look at this history of black people, we have such a good track record of business success in spite of all the Jim Crow shit that we had to
Yes, yes.
deal with.
During the times, yeah.
That people was copying our format. Different groups of people was copying us. They were imitating what we were doing. So
They're
you can't
doing
sit
it
here and tell
today.
they're
Yeah,
doing it
they're doing it
today.
today.
You
Yeah,
can't sit here and
they always
say
have.
that ideas that black people promulgated. Let's take the lottery for example. The lottery, the numbers game came from black people.
Yes, it did.
White people stole it. The government took it over, and then they made it a policy, and then they drive a lot of that lottery money. I know in Georgia, the Hope Scholarship used to be driven by the lottery, and so
Yeah.
you could get
They rendered tax revenues from it.
Oh
right.
yeah, a lot of it. A
So
lot of it.
so what I'm saying is that these numbers, like all these things that we were doing, were for the benefit of the whole. And so when you walk away from that as a group of people, you can't sit here and turn around and complain about the system, because when people were trying to help you develop something outside of the system that was yours for you and yours, you bought that. So now y'all gonna have to deal with. You're gonna have to start from scratch. We're not carrying y'all up a mountain. You're gonna have to do the work, and part of that work means you're gonna have to challenge some of those people, some of those failure people in your family who got a lot of power. They talk a lot of shit. They got a lot of control, but they have no ability to lead you in the right direction because they don't know shit. Y'all gonna have to answer to them, not the internet, not social media, but your own loser family members. That's just the bottom line.
But they're waiting on us to
But you
fight the
know,
battle for them too.
but there's no, see, here's the thing, right? Like I'm of the thought and the mindset that essentially, as of the whole reset, as they call it. See, they called it a great reset for a reason, right?
Which
And I
one?
think
Which year?
uh,
Which one and which
uh,
year?
the 2020 through 2021 version,
Okay.
that one, you know, the Klaus and all the, you know, Wuhan and you know, let me not say those words, but
Yeah. All right.
that one, right? So I truly believe that the cards got shuffled. I really do believe that, and I've seen it. You know, just personally from a business standpoint, what? How do you say this? See, so when things like a global pandemic happen, um, that's sort of like a once in a lifetime thing. I
Oh
never
yeah.
experienced that before. You know what I mean? So that was something that really did sort of flip the script on a lot of things. And I think what a lot of people did was they kind of got lulled back to sleep after everything quote unquote opened back up, right? And they didn't really sort of take away from what the hell actually just happened and say how maybe what we should do is sort of reorient ourselves, given that now we're in a new global environment where um, something that takes place across the globe can then affect the globe, right? In a sense of where everybody gets locked into their fucking houses. That's some new shit. And I really do think that there should have been some sort of slight reprogramming of our psyche
Oof.
as a result of this.
They should have tied the stimulus check to it. That's what they should have tied it to.
Elaborate on that.
Like they should have tied the actual refocusing on the environment, and you have to go actually in order to get these funds, you're going to have to be prepared to what's next before you get these funds. Whether you actually paid attention or not, you sat in this classroom, and this is how we're going to be operating once we open back up.
I mean, let's think about that, right? I mean, in some ways, maybe that did kind of happen, right? A lot of people did kind of skill up, maybe got certifications, did a. Oh, okay, that was right.
No, no, go ahead, go ahead.
Yeah. So maybe that kind of did happen in some regards. A lot of people did, have career changes, acquired new skill sets, moved into different industries, right?
Yeah,
We definitely matriculated into this micromobility industry full scale, and we're really seeing what's going on with it, dude. Like, this is the biggest year for sales for e-scooters and e-bikes right now, right? So I can see it. I've seen the change. It's just really what's kind of concerning to me is when you can literally be lulled into just kind of like this sort of like fuzzy social media space, just through conversations about who's marrying who, and not being focused on what's actually important. Or maybe that is important. I don't know, but I don't know. There is a way out, and a lot of it has to do with things like the apps on your phone and shit like that. WhatsApp, Robinhood, that investment apps. There's a way. Yo, is MOT you there? What happened? I'm not sure what happened.
yes, sir. I'm still here. I'm still
Oh,
here.
okay.
I'm still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. It's
I,
it's, it's
yeah. Too much
I mean,
information out here, bro.
it's just now. It wasn't the information. You know now that it wouldn't. It didn't matter how much information that was there. There was a practical application piece that people were socialized out of.
Yes. Exactly. That's what. Okay. Thank you. I'm glad you said that. I didn't get that word out. Practical application.
Yeah, it's a lack of practical application. Like when I was in the South growing up, you were wishing for a day to where you had the opportunity to go get two jobs. Down there, people with the degrees came from Mississippi State, Delta State, Alcorn, Jackson State, Valley, came down to get all the jobs, like the Kmart, Walmart, the Freds, the Dollar Generals, Dollar Trees, all that fast food restaurants. That's where had all the jobs. They clicked up in that. But once people started leaving, if they went to Memphis, if they went to Atlanta, most people ended up in Dallas. They realized that without the burden of kids, right? We're talking about our generation because there was two types of Generation X. There's Generation
You
X
had the
older
older. Yeah, my older
who
brother.
had the same problems that that the boomers have
The boomers.
for the most
Right.
part. And then there was the
And then there's
actual
us.
Generation X part who was locked out of the I wouldn't say locked out, but the circumstances deemed it so that way. They wasn't a part of the actual procreation phase of the people who was actually there, which gave them a lot of time to move and do all these other things with that the actual older Generation X didn't have. But they supplemented that actual work with all this nonsense and trying to buy into the previous generation stuff while we was kind of in the middle. And a lot of us
Yeah.
decided to leave town. A lot of us decided to go into education in large numbers. Because remember, that stuff was poo-pooed and like
That was
kind of
big.
down
Yeah.
upon.
My
And
wife
it
was
was a
in
great
it.
victory for yeah, it was a great victory for everybody at that point in time. Like I said, I could go two brothers older than me. They're when they started to get it right became after we got it straight.
After, dude.
After we got it
Look.
straight.
This is why I wanted to ask you. Fuck. It was because it was something very specific with regards to the Gen X thing that you mentioned. Because see, as like I don't think a lot of people understand what you just said. Like, there's two groups within Gen
Yeah,
X.
two
Okay.
groups.
Oh, this is what it was. See, we were the first generation latchkey kids. Our group of Gen X. Okay, I was the one that had the little key ring thing along, that was clipped to my belt loop on my pants that
Yeah.
had the house key, right? And then it was me and my younger brother. He's literally like the last of Gen X, my younger brother. And at 10 and 9 and 8 years old, I'm 10, he's like 8 years old. We walked about a mile and a half from school to home, key open, right? get you a snack, do your goddamn homework. Parents come home, then you go to sports practice, whatever you were playing at the time, right? But there was a heightened level of responsibility at a very young age that was bestowed upon us. So for those listening, our group of Gen X, you got to understand that the burden of responsibility that we carried from like early age.
Oh yeah, and
We
it
were
was like
latchkey kids.
and it's kind of what I mean by boomers is the outcomes. Because there was definitely people like my dad wasn't no slouch, mother wasn't no slouch, most of my uncles wasn't no slouch, older uncles and them wasn't no slouch. However, we were surrounded in the communities by dudes who was the same age who were.
Who
And the
were
only dudes that we seen
that's
that was
where
productive were the
yeah,
people who went off to the military, didn't come back.
that
The
that's
people
when
who
the
were
water started to get muddy during that
correct.
crack era shit.
Yes. Like during the fact where people actually went out to the actual factory jobs, working 12, 15 hours a day, never seen them to the weekend or maybe the holidays. They didn't come around because they didn't have time to come around. So it's kind of like the people who were socialized around the kids started changing when they didn't have custody of the kids or refused to be with the mother or whatever the situation was, but they kept working. And then there was a cave-in point to where everybody wanted to be like the dudes who hung out who didn't do work. And nobody wanted to
Right.
be like the people who was at work for 15, 19 hours a day. No one wanted to be the school teachers, the football coaches. Nobody wanted to be the factory workers. Everybody wanted to be the dude who
Cool
flipped four
niggas.
corners in an actual car with beats in it that didn't have no plates on it, but they couldn't leave the neighborhood.
Well,
Right.
well,
Big
well,
ass
well,
sticker
well,
boxes and shit in the trunk,
Yeah,
all
yeah,
that
yeah,
bullshit.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll say this: I'm a boomer like a motherfucker, proud of it. And at the end of the day, a boomer like a motherfucker.
Like a
There's
But
two different groups
motherfucker.
of people though, Nicole. You know there's two different groups of people.
Oh,
so
we already know. I
Yo,
mean,
no
me
doubt.
and Nagona talked about it. We know.
so 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 everybody I went to school, everybody who I hung with, we all went to school, we all got educations, and a lot of guys in the military, and a lot of guys became high in the military as well. They moved up as I'm trying to think, my man Milt, my frat and all them. These guys, they were lieutenant colonels and that type of thing. So high government clearance. My roommate is he's still in the military right now. He's getting ready to retire. But this is what we've seen. A lot of us have laid it down. I look at a lot of us right now. We're taking care of our grandchildren, and and
Yeah,
we're
you are.
covering them, and they're counting on us for doing all the key stuff. So, quite frankly, I see a lot of us. I see a lot of, especially a lot of the millennials and these Gen Zs they're still kind of rolling with us, and a lot of them are doing well, and a lot of them do have their minds right. They do have their minds right, and I know there are people getting on about they're not getting married as early and so forth. It's because they did see a lot of craziness, and they did come through a lot of BS, and
And
they're
grow up
not
with
making
it.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
normal.
they're not making some of the decisions, that like, people like myself who and others who got married very young and made some, even though we had a lot, but we made some bad choices with the people we linked up with and so forth, and had some outcomes that were questionable, but yet we were still smart enough, got good educations, we made enough money to really help to push things forward. Um, there was a lot going on, and these kids have picked up a lot. So I see a lot. We get on the millennial generation at some levels. They were softer, but we have a lot of them who came through and put a lot of pressure on this game a lot. When we look at people working from home and so forth, the
Oh yeah.
millennials pushed a lot of that. So
Yeah, for real.
there's no doubt. And a lot of them who are doing that are still living with their folks, which is smart. Living with people like myself and all that, which is intelligent, to raise their money up and
Very
get
smart.
their ackles up, and so they can move out on their own. But like my son and these guys, these guys are sitting here, man, with like 100 G's in the bank. I did
Yeah.
not have no 100
Mhm.
G's in the bank early on when
Yeah,
I
And there
no.
was no opportunities to create that either. Like there was no
when I
opportunities to
first
create
stepped,
that either.
No.
when I
And
first stepped out of school, I didn't have it. No, I was happy to have an apartment. We had advantages where I was able to get my first apartment, which was actually which was affordable housing, was $450 a month, and that was back in 1983 or so. But that's that's what was going on back then. But so now my son and these guys, they can lay up and work these pretty good jobs and bank all their dough. Just like one of my other friends, his daughter saved a lot of money, bought her first condominium. She had a good 50,000 in cash. She was able to buy it. Wasn't making that much money, but stayed home for a long while, and then she moved to her own
Yeah,
place.
that's what
You,
it is.
you,
I
you know,
mean,
so
because when you
so
buy
so
that
so the
place, like that,
you know,
whatever you rent, you think it's gonna be, that mortgage payment is gonna save you a lot of money down the road.
listen,
Tons.
listen. I couldn't get mad at my son. He sat back and chilled, and he went out and bought his own BMW. I wouldn't, I certainly I wanted a
Black
nice
man
B,
working.
working his ass off. But next thing you know, here he is, black tinted joint, looking crazy. I'm like, oh son, just lean a
Yeah,
little bit
black
more
man
to the,
working.
just lean a
BMW.
little bit more to the right when you drive. So I mean, he saved his
Oh,
dough.
shit.
Yeah.
This is stuff he's done. So,
He said,
so I,
lean a little more to the right.
a little more to the right when you rolling. I'm right behind you there, boy. Don't worry. I ain't gonna get in your way. Don't worry. So I ain't gonna get in the way of the lean. But anyway, but this is some of the stuff I see these youngsters are doing, and I like a great deal of what I am seeing, and a lot of them have done it because we've supported them, we've
Hmm.
backed it up. We've done that. So we have to look at this realistically, was that a perfect father and all that? No, but I think I've done a fairly good job, and my great grandfather, yeah, I do think that. But certainly, we had to be around. So we
Listen,
helped
man.
to move things forward.
If you got no complaints, this is what I've learned, right? To kind of keep, my own foot off my own goddamn neck most of the time.
Well, you are a hell of a dad. You
Well,
you you you
so are you, man. And I'm
you
saying,
know,
man, it's
nah, man, nah. I've heard you. I'll say this right now. I talk to him all the time, almost every day, and he would have his daughter behind. Dad, dad, boop, boop, boop. his daughter,
that was
beeping
years
behind him
ago,
every
dude.
2 seconds. What?
God
Dad,
damn.
dad, 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 dad. That's all you heard. She was tied to his hip. I was like, this kid is going to come up awesomely, because the only thing she did was ran behind her father 24/7. This man is the kind
So
of
does.
guy, that a lot of people say don't exist, but here he is every day talking to him. These are the only kind of people I can fuck with. These are the kind of people that are moving things forward. People like this guy. His wife's passed on, and here he is, just being the type of dad that it's just
I'm not gonna change. I wasn't gonna
no
change what I
one,
was gonna do, bro.
no one, just nobody really talks about that. So you know,
I just wanted to say, bro, like, listen, man, if you don't have any complaints about your child, man, as hard as you are on yourself, take that. And this is something that my stepmom told me, that, bless her, one of my best friends.
Salute to her, man. She's
Yeah,
great. She's great.
yeah. Like really, man, like a quality woman, yo. Like real
Yeah.
talk. And she
Can't
told me,
wait.
as long as you don't feel as long as you see results, don't be too hard on yourself. That was what she taught me, right? So it's like I have to really just kind of take the natural approach, just like how you were just talking about your son, telling him, "Hey, bro, like lean to the right a little bit." You know what I mean?
okay, lead to the
You
right.
know what I mean?
I
That's
ain't
what
gonna
I'm
get in the way of the
saying, right?
gangster lean. I ain't gonna get in the way
Yeah,
of the
yeah,
gangster
yeah.
lean. Don't worry.
Yeah, you give me a little pointers and tips on how to do it properly. You know what I mean?
No, it's just funny, but each generation builds on the next, and we haven't had it easy here. We haven't had it easy in this country. Right? We don't make a lot of decisions. We haven't had it easy, but we certainly do pull it together when we do, and we have a ridiculous amount of challenges, but we're still pushing. And I think this manosphere should speak a lot to how we should push forward with our families, with ourselves, and just consistently do that. I don't think we can afford being a congregation of ignorance. That, that, that is an anathema. So we have
That's
to
not
just
even who we are as a group of people collectively.
look to build. Yeah. We have to look to build. So even if some people who I don't get along with, but but yet they're fathers and raising children, and God bless them on that as well. So we have to give respect to all of this type of thing. So we can have our disagreements, but we are still in so many respects very much the same as well, and that's us as a community. That's just what we are. That's what we are.
Yeah, I mean,
Hey,
um,
real quick, can y'all drop the link? I'm gonna bounce because that's literally my daughter calling me. I guess she's at her grandmother's right now. So
Yeah, yeah,
just
yeah. I
drop
got to
it.
roll out in like
drop the
5
link.
minutes. So,
Oh, you
Okay.
do? Okay. Well, then, hey, look, hey, MOT, Rael, Nagone. Hey, I appreciate the chop up for
all
real.
right, cool, man. All right.
All right,
All
y'all.
right,
Hey, Rael, I'll hit you in a little bit.
All right,
Hey,
bro.
Nagone, I'll hit you later on.
I'm
All
gonna
right.
break out too, man. Love you, brothers. All you cats out there in the chat, love you too. And
Love you too, big bro.
All right.
let's have a great year coming up. Let's do
Oh
that.
yeah, no
Let's do
doubt,
it.
man.
Let's
Because like
definitely
the
do
people have
that.
already separated themselves with the content years ago. It's just that they're trying to paper over the manosphere with the actual personnel who's trying to destroy what can actually be done here with the
Yes.
actual concept by just using lost men as the actual focus to make sure nothing actual changes, and that's crazy within itself. As you can see, we have a conversation. People who didn't have any type of substance jumped up talking about roasting when that's about, just talking about things that's not even true. But that's what people want to hear. They hear things are changing. They're not being a part of the conversation. They got to flee with the quickness. They got to desperately. They feel the sky coming down. And it's like, look,
Well,
I've already been raised around not taking these people seriously and being able to appropriately handle them whenever they do show up. So, not a big deal.
let me say this.
True.
The man, there are a lot of people out here who are hurting, and we get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, just to give a backdrop of me. My mother died in 2000. My cousin was murdered about almost a year later, basically a year later. And 4 months later, I lost my father in 2002. So 2000, September, mom gone. October, my closest cousin murdered. Ironically, he went back up north because he came down to Atlanta. He went back up north, started getting into some shit. But he saw me being on some positive stuff. He saw me, I was in college and stuff like that. And so he wanted to get back to me. And so he wanted to surprise me. And unfortunately, he was killed a week before he got back to Atlanta because he wanted to surprise me because he was seeing the positive things that I was doing. And he was just like, he kept telling my other cousin, I got to get back to my cousin. I got to get back to my cousin. And so my dad died 4 months later. Um, the world did not stop moving because I went through those losses.
Not at all.
It didn't stop moving. It didn't say, "Yo, Rob, we gonna take a pause and we gonna let you get yourself together emotionally,
So real. That's so
and
real.
when you ready, then we're gonna move again." No, I had a choice to make. Either I was gonna step up to the challenge as a man, or I was just gonna fold to the pressure. You know what I'm saying? And just to give y'all part of that history, my father was in the hospital. He was talking to the nurse, and the nurse, he told the nurse, he was like, "Yeah, he just lost his mother not too long ago." And even though my dad was really sick at that time, my dad was not worried about me at all. I'm sitting there, I'm crying, and my dad was not worried. He was like, "He gonna be all right." You know what I'm saying? And so when we come here, we're bringing these type of experiences. Yeah, but we ain't had it easy, man. Like we done been through some shit too. You know what I'm saying? But you know, it's our belief. I know in what we bring to the table and who we are. that allows us to speak with so much force. And this is what we want men in our group to be like. We don't like for black men to be looked upon as some suckers and sexual savages who can't keep it in their pants and all that type of shit. We don't want that shit. There's too many black men and black people in overall, but black men who spent so much of their time trying to prove to the world, specifically racist world, who kept trying to define us as anything but civilized. And so they didn't do all that hard work for us to literally embrace the same racist notions about who we are as a group. And so when we're giving this information, man, we're doing that in that spirit. And yeah, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be some tough love, but it's gonna be love. It's just gonna be different. This ain't your mama. You know what I'm saying? This is men. We're gonna toughen you up because we got to. But at the end of the day, like, we're not trying to get you to walk off a cliff, hurt yourself, kill yourself. We're trying to give you the very essence of the information that's going to help you transform yourself as a man, transform your way of thinking. If you're not thinking on a man level, you're thinking on a female level, and you got to get out of that. There's just no way you're going to be successful in life thinking on that level. You got to break from your mama, from the women in your family. You got to break from them. You got to step into the world of manhood and masculinity. This is where you belong. This is where you have your greatest chance at survival. Otherwise, man, you're gonna fail.
And a lot of people don't understand that we're trying to erase what they've gotten a hold of. Like they was trying to erase what we picked up from other cultures through our actual travels. Like they don't understand that no one else is trying to destroy this culture but them. No one's trying to keep this stuff behind but them. Like the women are not even coming out here doing this shit. They're doing it on the behalf of the women, and then they're trying to blame the women for the shit. The women didn't jump up here trying to troll and all that shit. Men did that. Women didn't do none of that shit. But the women have never done shit like that. End of the day, the women got too many options to be worried about what men are actually interested in or focused on. As long as they worried about that, why would you base your whole conversation around what people who got way more power and options than you are doing? It doesn't matter. You could just move along to better stuff. And in 2024, we need to be able to publicly come out and say that these people are not our people. The manosphere is not going to be a safe haven or rest stop for confused, lost, broken ass men. And anybody who keeps up that type of conversation, they cannot be part of us. You got to go to the media. You got to go everywhere. But like, these people are not part of our group. They want to be seen as our group, going around trolling all of these larger content and just trying to drag us into conflicts that we don't need to be in. No, that's you who's on some stuff with those people, not us. We ain't got nothing to do with these people. And to my knowledge, the manosphere is not at war with anybody but itself at this point. And its future better self versus its present worse self. That's the only fight that's here.
Yep.
There is no gender war. They're just men who just ain't got their shit together and trying to blame women for it.
Yeah, I mean, when we first start coming around these spaces, man, women used to troll us a lot. I mean, we used to,
an incredible amount. I mean, dude,
I mean,
I have like a long list of apologies and emails. Like, you know what? I'm just not gonna come around anymore. But I usually didn't understand you. Now I get you. Now I get you. And it's like you was right the entire time. Like there's a lot of
I used to get that on Facebook all the time in my messenger. I would check my messenger when I used to have it. It would be nothing but comments from females like, "Man, you said some real shit the other day." They'll comment blah 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 blah. I used to get that all the time.
Yeah, and it's like it's consistent. I mean, people may look at me wrong, but at least I am consistent about the results I'm trying to create. And that's something that is missing within masculinity because everybody respects the guy who turns the corner and be on some nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
That is came to take hold around people about, okay, that's what a man is. A person who could just turn the corner and expect everybody to forgive him. Like, nah, man, that's not how that works at all, bro. Not at all.
Right. And the thing about it is, like, your group's failure shouldn't be a form of entertainment. Like, seeing black people fail at life, I mean, we can laugh and joke, but laughter is a part of it's we have it. It's healthy. We get it. It's all good. But your failure as a collective group, especially with a lot of the things that you're facing, that should not be up for a form of consumption, you know. And make no mistake about it, for all the people that do engage, a lot of people are using Black content to show their families on how not to be or what not to be.
Oh, no doubt. Like, bro, when I go to other groups of people, they want to know if they see it. I'm like, they see it. I see it. Let's talk about business.
Yes.
That's why I'm here.
Yep.
They see it. I see it. Just like you have these group of people that you don't care about and you don't focus on. I have these group of people that I don't care about and that I don't focus on. Let's
Yep.
get back to the business rather than the understanding. Because you got people here that you ain't trying to understand either. Don't point to my group because you got the same people in your
Yeah.
group too. That's
Yeah.
how you handle it. That's how you handle it.
And that's the difference between our group and other groups. Other groups don't have a problem from separating from the worst of them. They
Oh
don't have a
no, not at
problem
all.
with that.
Not
They
even
they
close.
don't they don't look at they don't look at themselves and say, "Hey, I'm Indian and you're Indian and we should stick together."
Oh
They
God,
say,
no. No one
"No,
says anything like
I'm
that.
in I'm in this caste and you're in that caste, and I'm not going to associate with you." So
What
even
is your
though they share the
accomplishment? What
same
is it based
ethnicity,
on? Okay. We can't rock. We can't roll. You know we can't roll. I'm not sure why you even over here.
that's it.
Even
And the only reason why Black people trying to meld the classes together is because the lower classes who don't have standards, their job in Black America is to ruin the higher classes of Black people. That's their
by
job.
sheer numbers
Yep,
of
that's their job.
unprincipled people, by
Yep.
sheer numbers. Now, like the actual splitting off and not dealing with these people didn't happen in the Generation X. Not before. Right now, you're asking people whether or not they want to be on the corner dealing with these dudes who ain't got their stuff together. It's nearly impossible you see anybody out there with some dudes. They're the last of their kind. There ain't nobody else out there. They are the last of their kind by themselves. Nobody's procreating with these people and none of that stuff. They are just out there by themselves. And that's the way it always should have been. But you had a run up of a lot of these people wanting an easier and a quote unquote cheaper way to do things. And that's just not what was happening, man. Hey, I'm glad about my journey, glad about the progress that
Hmm.
we actually made in the actual space. And
Hmm.
look, when it's time to move on to better things, the group's supposed to get smaller. Like, why would it
Hmm.
get larger? It's
Right.
supposed to get smaller. So
It's
I'm not really
exclusive.
worried about it.
It's
Uh-uh.
exclusive. Success brings exclusivity
And a lot of people
by
don't want to
definition.
understand that because they want it to be the actual people who, like, look, at the end of the day, we're going to be inclusive. And that inclusivity was the thing that it was a death knell to everybody. Notice we didn't have to talk about women in this live stream or nothing. We just talked about what men need to be doing only, exclusively. Not trying to blame women for shit. End of
Mhm.
the day, you knew what they was on back then until now. You know what the history is. Social media gave you a better way of even calculating this actual thought process. So if you're losing now, you want to lose.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
and and we need to move the conversation beyond men who want to lose, men who want to act like they're not supporting the actual people that they are supporting. I'm fine with the actual outcomes of it because guess what? If your ass is in lack of want, there's only one reason why your ass is there. You don't have it, and
Yep,
then ain't nobody else's fault but your own, and you got to be able to stand on that.
yep. Even if you didn't grow up with it, you got you got to be the one to create it. Do it. Be the
I
one who
had to.
starts it out first. That's what I'm doing.
I had
Like,
to.
like
First, first associate degree, first bachelor degree, first
right.
master's degree, like all that stuff was the first for like first, and then after I did it, then other people start like, look, if he's doing it and he grew up here, then I could do this. And then next thing you know, everybody started moving toward the X's and getting their stuff together. Stop trying to define themselves through broken people, and it just became a better. It became a better action and outcome for everybody. Once you start raising the bar and raising the standards and making sure that you're not even around these people like that in whole, that's what happened.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I'm good with it, man.
If you're a young man, if you're a middle aged man, even if you're older, If you're spending all or most of your time around women in your family, you're in the wrong space. You're in the wrong place. You got to get away from them. I know that shit gonna be tough. I know y'all used to being around them and they make you feel good sometimes. But when you out here in this world trying to bang, it ain't about feeling good. You're doing what you're doing, and the sacrifices you make early is for the greater good long term for yourself, most importantly. So you got to get away. In order for you to be comfortable, you're gonna have to learn how to be uncomfortable first. That's just the bottom line. And
And you
this is
are
what
going to
we
be
got
starting
to.
over.
Yes, you're gonna have to start over. There's something in American business called bankruptcy. Starting at zero is not a bad thing, y'all. It's not like y'all think it is. Sometimes starting at zero, when you hit that bottom floor, you can't go any further down. You can only go up at that point. So just focus on you and what's best in the best interest for yourself moving forward. Because the generations behind you, they have pretty much lived their lives if they're of the older persuasion. Once you start getting to the people in their 60s and 70s, they have lived their lives. They have pretty much given you everything that they could possibly give you. But there are other people in the world that can give you also, that can help you take what you need to take to another level. So those are the types of people you need to surround yourself with. There's a reason why people will pay Warren Buffett $1 million to talk to him for an hour,
For
because what they're
lunch.
going to glean from him is so valuable. It's more valuable than a lot of the stuff that people get from their families. Think about having the kind of family that can give you $1 million to let you talk to Warren Buffett. They already got millions, and they're still saying we want to take it to even another level.
Yep.
Because there's levels to this shit. Warren Buffett, man, was worth 250 million in like 82. Now he's worth like 80, 90 billion. That's a
Yeah, stuff
whole.
happened at the end of his life, man. Like none of that stuff happened before he was. I think he'll. I don't think none of that stuff happened before he was 50.
Yeah, he was old. He was old. He was old when he got a lot of that money, man. He was old, man. This dude is like in his 90s. He's still productive. He's like in his 90s. He's still productive. So it ain't you ain't as men, you're never too old, man. Don't get that out. Old is such a old concept at this point. We got different medicine, foods, help prolong your life, keep you healthy. Old is a relative concept at this point. You know what I'm saying? It's old is really about consciousness. If you're around people who have an old mentality that just
Yeah,
don't
who
want to
gave
get
up?
updated,
Gave up a
you
long
gotta get
time
away
ago.
from that shit. Like I don't care if you're related to them by blood. I don't care if it's your mother and father. Y'all think y'all look. My dad kicked me out because I challenged him when I was in high school, my senior year, because I wasn't trying to hear certain things that he was saying because I thought it was bullshit, and I was right. But he didn't. He didn't want to give me that respect to know that I was in the right and he was in the wrong. His ego wouldn't allow him to accept that. So he kicked me out. But I stood on my square to my own father, and I love my father to this very day. But if the shit was wrong, man, that shit was wrong. I wasn't going with that shit. And I was like, nope, I wasn't doing it. And so no men in these spaces are gonna make me go with some shit that's wrong, even
Nah,
when
that's
my own
crazy.
father did something, was saying something that I didn't agree with, and I didn't go with that. So y'all gotta really, man, really step into these new challenges. It's not a negative thing. Just step to the challenges, man, like we've always done historically. Be the great men that our forefathers were. Man, we'll be fine.
That's what I'm saying, man. So, with that said, man, let me get up out of here. Trying to enjoy the rest of the week before I get started next week, man. Just taking some time off. I normally don't take time off at all, but just out here, just riding around, man. Just about to just cruise across the country back to Denver. Spend a couple days there. Start this new year off right, man. Just try to change things around and just try to get these people up out of here and start on this press tour about the dangers of these weak, whack ass men who want to discuss women online. This shit needs to be shut down and destroyed. They better have a point of using this millions of dollars in infrastructure because the way this stuff is being used is the same way that they use rap music and R&B to destroy the actual family unit. They're just not doing it with online content. It's nuts. We don't need this stuff, man. We don't need it. So with that said, I want to thank you guys for coming through on the Man of Tomorrow. There's nothing wrong with the black man spirit. There's something wrong with the actual clientele of the people who they market it towards deliberately. Thank you so much for listening. You guys have a really nice day. Peace.